1,000 plus for this Labor Day Classic between the Calgary Stampeders and the Edmonton Eskimos. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Armitage and welcome to the CFL on CBC, the second half of our Labor Day doubleheader. It's the 6-2 Stampeders gunning for first place in the West against the Edmonton Eskimos 2-6 who need a win desperately to stay in the playoff hunt. Now let's go upstairs and join Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter, the boys in the booth.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everybody. There's Don Matthews. Unaccustomed to seeing him at 2-6, but Don says he sees some light at the end of the tunnel and knows the impact of a win on Labor Day and what it could do for his young team at the other side of the football field. There's Wally Buono, who says you can't oversell or undersell the significance of this game, but he's also wary of giving the Eskimos a shot in the arm here.
No question about it. Very important game for the Edmonton Eskimos, Chris. They have to win here on Labor Day. It really is a must-win for them if they want to turn their season around. They can get some confidence here in a hurry if they can win with a packed house here in McMahon.
Grey Cup hero Mark McLaughlin puts it on the tee, and we're just about set for the 37th annual Labor Day Classic from McMahon. Brett Bailey and Donnie Ashley are deep, and this will be Bailey, who had such a huge game last week, and he shows you how dangerous he is across the 40, up near the 45. It's a 24-yard return for the elusive Fred Bailey, who became a fan favorite overnight at Commonwealth Stadium. There's Nealon Green, who injured a hamstring a couple of weeks ago, back in the lineup, and he's an exciting young quarterback with the veteran Mills in the backfield.
He's going to need some help from Troy Mills. Up front, of course, Terry Vaughn is the go-to guy in the receiving corps. You'll be looking for him. Keyshawn Elmastube, the center, was very ill before the game, but he'll start for the Edmonton here to start it out.
Troy Mills gets the handoff. Nothing doing early. Jermaine Miles shut the door quickly as the Eskimos try to get things established on the ground.
They're going to need a big game out of this front four in Calgary. They have to control their pass rush against a great running quarterback in Nealon Green. Alonji Johnson probably responsible for spying the quarterback. And what a season William Hampton is having.
3 touchdowns, 2nd and 9, and a pass over the middle tipped, and there's another pick for the Eskimos defense, and it's the rookie Shad Chris, one of only 2 Calgary Stampeder defenders that was not with the club last year in the Grey Cup game.
Exactly what Nealon Green did not want to happen to start this football game is to give the Calgary Stampeders a huge emotional lift with an interception. He just needed to make sure he controlled the football, even if he had to punt it away and try and take this crowd out of the game early. Now it's up to the Edmonton defense to try and stop it.
Daryl Hall makes the play. The intended receiver was Donnie Ashley, and Chris comes up with his first CFL interception. Now Mike McCoy goes to work, swinging it out right side. Canadian Vince Danielson steps out of touch at the Edmonton Eskimo 48-yard line.
Well, Mike McCoy gets the start. We will see Dave Dickinson in this football game. McCoy is going to go to Kelvin Anderson in the backfield. Quite frankly, when they get Kelvin Anderson the football, the Calgary Stampeders win the game. Jamie Crysdale anchors the middle and the offensive line, and Alan Pitts on the verge of breaking a record in the receiving corps, 108 yards away from Ray Elgard.
There's an established offensive line. Byron Thomas is the newcomer. He took over for Fred Childress, still in the Dallas Cowboys camp. They got off to a shaky start when Brett McNeil was injured. He's back, and the Stampeders have been better on the line, and that's veteran Charles Anthony shaking up on the first defensive play for the Eskimos.
Yeah, and that's not good news for Edmonton. Obviously, Charles Anthony is the guy who's going to be matched up on Alan Pitts throughout most of this game. The last time these two teams met, Alan Pitts had 115 yards receiving. He's going to go after Charles Anthony. Now, with him hurt, they may have to move Ken Watson to the halfback position, a guy that in the last couple of years in the league played linebacker.
So Anthony helped off. Rio Wells expected back in the Eskimos lineup next week, coming off a broken leg. There have been a lot of changes in Edmonton this year, and this is a team that still doesn't really have full cohesion, and it's unusual to say for a team from Edmonton.
Especially when you're talking about the defensive side of the football. I mean, the only guy there that really knows anything about the Edmonton Eskimo mystique is Melvin Hunter. Kavis Reed was injured last week, and he gone for the season. Maybe career-ending injury.
So a similar start here to that of our first game in Hamilton, the home side with an early interception. 4 yards the pickup on the Danielson catch, so McCoy looking at 2nd and 6. Kelvin Anderson out of the backfield across the 40 has a first down as he skips out at the Edmonton 36.
In the 2 losses for the Calgary Stampeders this year, Kelvin Anderson averaged 39 yards. In their 6 wins, it went up to 91.5. Defensively for the Edmonton Eskimos, talked about Melvin Hunter, really the only guy that has any experience in the Edmonton organization. Terry Ray moved down last week from the secondary into the linebacking core. Charles Anthony, we saw he was injured already in this football game.
Fogle back for Kavis Reed. Here's Anderson. Nice spin there, but the Eskimos had shut the door anyway, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Talking to Wally Bono before the game about Mike McCoy starting at quarterback, and they felt like because Dave Dickinson hasn't played in 6 weeks that it was important to start McCoy, let Dickinson watch from the sideline, let things settle down a little bit, and then insert him into the football game. And plus, McCoy has won. He's had some success.
3-0 as the Stampeders starter, the 3rd man to start for Calgary this year, and it's 2nd and 10 as he operates out of the shotgun. Looking deep, looking for Danielson, and over his head by a stride with Marcelo Simmons in coverage for the Eskimos.
Yeah, a matchup that you'll look at quite a lot this afternoon is Vince Danielson, the 3rd receiver to the inside, matched up on Marcelo Simmons. Marcelo Simmons used to be a defensive back, but that was a long time ago. He's played linebacker the last few years. Danielson
with a catch in the final minute of the first meeting of these 2 teams back in July, and it gave Calgary a 41-37 victory. Will we have another Wild West shootout here at McMahon this afternoon? Good numbers for Mark McLaughlin, playing in game number 199 of his CFL career. And 4 field goals short of 500 in his outstanding career. Ball up, and he pushed it to the left side, and it will be Ashley bringing it out. Ashley getting across the 10 up to the 12-yard line. So the Stampeders fail to capitalize on the interception by Shadwick Chris, and we're still scoreless at McMahon. Eskimos have to try and get on the board in a hurry, take the crowd out of it. Defensively, they got to pressure the quarterbacks, whether it's Mike McCoy or Dave Dickinson. Offensively for Calgary, involve Kelvin Anderson. It's crucial for the success of the Stampeders. And defensively, take away the go-to guy. Make Edmonton beat you by going to someone other than Terry Vaughn. Kid from Clemson backed up, and a loose football on the turf. It looks like the Eskimos get back on it, but an anxious moment there for the green and gold. The Edmonton Eskimos right now look nervous to me. They're not executing properly in the first series. They look a little bit nervous on Labor Day. A lot of them newcomers to this kind of atmosphere and this kind of game, and the pressure that this kind of game brings. They're kind of kicking it around right now. Away with one there. In fact, they picked up one. 2nd and 9. Great career, showed blitz, but drops off. Pass is complete, and it will be close to a first down. Mark Tobert, the receiver. You're going to see a lot of Calgary defense showing blitz on Nealon Green. Nealon Green had problems early in the year handling blitzes from the safety. Against Hamilton, Rob Hitchcock blitzed 20 times in the football game. Hamilton, of course, crushed Edmonton in that game. They'll show it in Calgary because now Nealon is getting more comfortable with blitz. They'll show it, make him think it's coming, and then drop out of there. Mark Tobert, the graduate out of Alberta, gets the first down, and now inside another loose football. This time the Stampeders are on it. So they cough it up And the second time in this first quarter, the Calgary defense comes up with a turnover.
Chris, we both walked up the tunnel and saw the Edmonton Eskimos walking down towards the field before the game, and they were focused. They had the big eyes. They looked like it might have been too much. They might have been too focused on this game, and the adrenaline and emotion too high. Right now, they are really not executing the football. They're not concentrating on the little things, hanging on to it, making sure the handoffs are clean. It's because they're a little too hyped for this game, I think.
Safety Greg Frères came up with the football, so first an interception, and now a fumble recovery. McCoy goes back to work. Play action, looks over the middle, intended for Pitts, and it gets there on a ricochet. And Alan Pitts gets a little closer to Ray Elgard.
Charles Asman played it perfectly, except for one thing. He didn't catch the football. A great drop from the middle linebacker, Charles Asman. He drops right into the spot he's supposed to be in, but doesn't come up with the catch. It just goes right through his hands. Pitts takes the tip.
45th catch for Alan Pitts on the year. And over 700 yards now. He's number 2 in the CFL in reception yards this season. Kelvin Anderson right side, and he's wrapped up at the 15-yard line.
Marcelo Simmons makes the play. Marcelo Simmons from the linebacking core shoots up there and makes sure Kelvin Anderson can't take it all the way to the sideline. We talked about him in the matchup against Vince Danielson. Well, in the past, I think that favors Calgary, but Marcelo Simmons pretty good against the run. Watch him shoot across the middle of your screen. That makes Kelvin Anderson turn it up right there, and that's where all Marcelo Simmons' friends are.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Pitts looked like he was over the line of scrimmage, and the play is stopped before it develops.
Ken Watson is the guy that Alan Pitts is running on, and I think he got pretty excited looking across the field and seeing him over there, simply because Ken Watson wouldn't have taken many of the reps in practice. Charles Anthony would have got all the reps at halfback.
Calgary, number 63, still second down.
So when Alan Pitts gets on the backside down in the scoring range, he's running the corner or the post. There's no question. It's one or the other, and he's running against Ken Watson. That's where he's going to go after, and you know Mike McCoy knows that as well.
Ron Meyer out of Rush Lake, Saskatchewan, the right tackle. Called for procedure, and it's 2nd and 16. 6 receivers out for McCoy. Over the middle, there's Pitts. And nice play there by Charles Asman to stay with him, the middle linebacker, in his second start in the middle for Edmonton. Didn't let Pitts get any further.
Played pretty well last week, Charles Asman, and that's why he's got the 2nd straight start. It's been a bit of a surprise that Justin Ring didn't play early, but he really didn't produce, or hasn't yet, into the linebacker that Don Matthews hoped he'd be. So that's why Charles Asman is playing a little bit more. He got his hands on one football, went into Pitts' hands, and this time he brings him down well short of the first down. They played a little zone defense back there, making it throw it underneath.
Well, the Eskimos defense has done the job in the first quarter. Backed up twice by Edmonton turnovers. McLaughlin doesn't miss the second time. And the Calgary Stampeders are on the board. But it could be a whole lot worse for the Green and Gold. We're midway through the first quarter. 3-0 Stamps. Well, we've become used to it being sold out here at McMahon Stadium on Labor Day. It was sold out last Wednesday, 37,611. And it's quite a story here, Glenn, at McMahon Stadium and in Calgary. Their average attendance this year now pushed up to 33,380. What a decade it's been for Calgary after going through the Save Our Stamps campaign in the late 80s.
No question about it. They've done a terrific job here.
Here's Fred Bailey once again trying to get outside. And being tackled across the 30-yard line. A 17-yard return for Bailey, who had 362 combined yards last week.
What a game he had. Fred Bailey, you know, talk to me. He's another guy here that wants to have a great game because he's been released once by Wally Buono, and he'd love to come in here and show him that he made a mistake.
On the roster for a half dozen games in '97, but never really got a chance to show his stuff. Of course, that's a problem in Calgary. They've had a few good receivers ahead of him.
That's right.
And of course, one was Terry Vaughn, who's now a teammate, and they like the fact that Bailey should be able to complement Vaughn very nicely. 4 receivers right side. Nealon Green, option flip, and that's Bailey out of the backfield, trying to cut it back, and gets to the 35. Boy, one more tackle, and he might have, or one more block, he might have gone a long way, but Jack Kellogg was there.
He did it all on his own, too, because that ball, that was almost a disastrous play for the Edmonton Eskimos. Nealon Green pitched that one back way too hard. Fred Bailey does everything he can to pull it down with one hand, or that's a huge fumble loss. And then he gets a few yards on his own, just making people miss in the open field.
Got 2. And it's 2nd and 8. Green, good protection. And there's Bailey out of the backfield. First down, and just pushed out of bounds. So obviously Don Matthews liked what he saw last week and is making Bailey more of the offense. However, he looks like he's been nicked on the play.
Yeah, they want to get him the ball. Him and Terry Vaughn, after the game that he had last week, 162 yards receiving and a touchdown. A lot of what Terry Vaughn did, he's very similar in stature and does a lot with the football after he catches it, much like Vaughn. So now they have 2 go-to guys.
Aldi Henry just forced him out of touch. 14 yards for Bailey, a first down, and now Green rolling right, and a completion on the far side of the field.
One of the question marks for Nealon Green was whether or not that hamstring was completely healed and ready to go again. And Nealon Green on that sprint out looked like he was pretty strong. Ran to the right, looked pretty strong running, and then delivered that pass on the run. So looked like he was all right, and that's Fred Bailey getting attended to on the bench.
Andre Batson, the York graduate, came in to replace Bailey and has his 3rd catch of the year. And a first down for Edmonton. Moving into Calgary territory for the first time today. Troy Mills down to the 45. 33 years of age. Mills hampered by rib problems again this year. He had a 100-yard rushing game against the Calgary Stampeders last year.
The Edmonton Eskimos have really struggled at that position. They lost Bobby Phillips, they lost Troy Mills. For about 3 games this year, they had to play with 2 fullbacks, Sean Millington, who was playing hurt, and Scott Dyberg. So it has been a problem area for them in the injury department.
Mills got 5, 2nd and 5. And a time count violation against Green. He talked about his hamstring, and Don Matthews says no limitation.
Edmonton, number 15. Still 2nd down.
No limitations on his ability to run today.
Yeah, and that's what, because that's his game. I mean, Nealon Green, to be successful, is going to have to run the football, and Don Matthews wouldn't have played him in this game if he couldn't do that. You never know with a hamstring. Hamstrings can be delicate. The wrong push off, the wrong time could go again.
Bailey's back in, 2nd and 10. Here comes the rush. Green delivers, and that'll be short of the first down. Terry Vaughn, the former Stampeder, has his first catch of the Labor Day Classic.
Yeah, that's called just giving him about a 6-yard play and a headache. Just let him throw it underneath, break up on it, play zone coverage. Don't give up anything deep. The read takes you to the underneath man, and then you come up and make the tackle.
Once again, Chadwick Chris with the tackle. He had an interception early, and he really, along with Kevin Johnson, the only newcomers to a well-established Calgary Stampeder defense. Here's John Baker back in to kick now. Had a couple of 50-plus yard field goals against Calgary back in July. This will be from 51. Missing just to the right. That's Marvin Coleman in the end zone. Getting set to concede the single, and does. Eskimos on the board after a missed field goal. It's 3-1 Stampeders.
Closed caption.
So some missed opportunities by both offenses so far in the football game. 5:48 to go in the first quarter of the 1999 Labor Day Classic.
And missed opportunities, especially for the Calgary Stampeders, who got that turnover early way down in Edmonton's end and didn't come away with the major. And that can come back to haunt you, especially in a game that has a history of being close.
Mike McCoy getting his first taste of the Labor Day game. Wally Buono says what McCoy has accomplished this year in a short time is exceptional, but when he talks about some of the aspects of McCoy's game, he doesn't exactly glow with praise. He says he doesn't have a great arm, but he throws well. Doesn't have great foot speed, but he gets out of trouble. All he seems to do is win. Direct snap to Anderson, trying to plow his way up to the 49 and got to the 50.
Well, it's an interesting point, though, because Mike McCoy is being put into a system, and here in Calgary, they've had consistency over the years and through the 90s when Wally Buono's been here. So they've been able to change quarterbacks and not really skip a beat. Some other teams struggle when they don't really have a system in place. They don't have veterans around the quarterback. McCoy has that luxury.
Anderson followed Byron Thomas and powered his way up to the 50. Call it a gain of 6 at 2nd and 4, Calgary. Here's McCoy looking for Pitts once again, and Alan Pitts unable to bring it in.
Well, that's the one-on-one matchup we talked about. Alan Pitts going on Ken Watson, and this time you got to give credit to Watson. Stride for stride with Pitts, it would have been a one-handed catch, and that's what you want to do as a defensive back. Try and take away the inside arm. See, as Watson with his right arm stripped down Pitt's left arm, kept that other arm out of there. Watch this, here comes the strip. He'll try and keep that left arm out of the play, and then Pitts has to come up with the one-hander. It's not interference, it was perfect timing by Ken Watson.
You know, McCoy is a quick learner, though, because the prime receiver seems to be Alan Pitts, and why not? Oh, look who's back. Tony Martino just signed on the weekend after being released by the Philadelphia Eagles. 48.2-yard punt average last year for the Stampeders. And it's blocked. Andre Batson got to the ball, and it's picked up by the Eskimos. This is Patrick Denis inside the 5, so Batson with the block. And what a turnaround this is. Glenn Suter last week, Hamilton won a football game by blocking an Eskimo punt.
It's a huge play, and Batson is unblocked off the edge. A miscue by the Calgary punt team. He comes off the edge, times his jump perfectly. What you want to do is tackle the football in the air. Batson does it perfectly. Patrice Denis picks it up, and then he just tries to rumble his way into the end zone. Huge play for Edmonton to give him momentum. Now they have to capitalize. Calgary didn't do it when they got the turnover. Now it's Edmonton's turn.
Big play by Batson, and you have to wonder, Martino just back.
Well, that's one of the concerns he had. He said to me before the game, he said, the one thing I'm worried about is the timing between center and myself. Make sure I get it off in the right amount of time.
And now the Eskimos knocking on the door inside the 5. Green rolling right, looks like he'll keep it. William Hampton got there first, and flags are flying. Maybe a face mask as Hampton reached up on Nealon Green.
Design play from start to finish to have Nealon Green get out behind the pulling guards and just try and run it in on his own. Nealon Green did not have a receiver eligible downfield. He was just going to run from the get-go.
Ken Lazark in charge.
Major foul, face mask, Calgary number 21, first down Edmonton.
Leo Groenwagen out in front. We'll see who it's. William Hampton gets the hand up on the face mask.
Not much doubt.
No question about it. Nealon Green now gets it first down, half the distance, which is the 1-yard line.
Green is the most dangerous running threat on this Eskimo team. He'll hand it off. Mills left side. Touchdown Edmonton.
Capitalize on the sudden change situations. That's what you have to do to have success, especially when you're struggling. We talked about one of the game notes coming in is for the Edmonton Eskimos to score in a hurry and to score the first major. Well, they just did, and that gives them momentum. It takes the crowd out of it.
Calgary had a couple of early turnovers, could not push it through, and then a blocked punt. And Nealon Green and the Eskimos get it into the end zone for the first major. And you never know who the hero's going to be on Labor Day.
That's right.
Right now, Andre Batson, one of the headliners. Baker to add the extra point. And the Edmonton Eskimos have taken the lead here in the first quarter. Troy Mills punches it in, and it's 8-3 Eskimos.
Andre Batson comes up with a huge play. Here comes Batson right off the edge. I believe it's Greg Ferris who misses him. That's number 12. You see him step up. Doesn't even see him come over. He's looking to go down the field and cover the punt in a hurry, but he has to block first. And I don't think the timing was off by that much from Tony Martino. It was just a clean shot by Andre Batson.
Baker with the kickoff, and Kelvin Anderson got through the first wave, and he's into the open field. John Baker trying to cut him off. There is a flag down, and Anderson finally out of touch as the kicker got enough of him. That flag would indicate that Edmonton was offside on the kickoff.
Yeah, that's back where it is. It's in the offside area. And
offside, Edmonton number 26, decline.
Yeah, that'll be declined, no question about it. Huge play by Calvin Anderson, and special teams all of a sudden becoming a big factor for both teams. Andre Batson blocking a punt. Now Calvin Anderson responds with a big kick return. He thought he was going to get contact early, kind of braced himself, and then it didn't happen. Just opened up for him.
Tyrone Hines down back at the other end of the field. The defensive end, that means Leroy Blue will come into the game.
Tyrone Hines has been playing for Leroy Blue throughout the year. Blue is in the doghouse, so to speak, in Edmonton, and has had some problems with Don Matthews, and the management has been on and off the roster, but hasn't started. Tyrone Hines has started.
Hines had a touchdown in the game against Winnipeg earlier this year. Looks like they're working on his right knee.
Sort of work up from the foot down. There's Leroy Blue getting in the lineup right now. What they'll do is they'll check his ankle first, then go to his knee. And Tyrone Hines in second day in training camp, Don Matthews said Tyrone Hines is going to make this football team. That's how good he was after just 2 days.
If the Stampeders score a touchdown, a field goal, or a
so Hines getting to his feet, then Leroy Blue checks in, and Anderson's still savoring that 72-yard kickoff return.
He thought he was going to get hit early in that pile, and then all of a sudden it broke wide open, and then it was a foot race, and the guy he's racing against only has one shoe, just one tire. That was John Baker. You should be able to beat a guy with one tire. Big return by Calvin Anderson, and now the Stamps have the opportunity to try and capitalize. They've missed 2 now.
Anderson, the runner-up for outstanding player in the Canadian Football League last year, and now getting a chance to return more kicks as they expel Marvin Coleman on kickoff returns.
You know, and once again, Calvin Anderson in this league has been sort of the forgotten tailback. I mean, second overall in the league, and everyone all year has talked about Mike Pringle, of course, coming off the 2,000-yard year, and Robert Drummond, who's had a great season so far in BC, and people keep forgetting about Calvin Anderson, and he quietly does it year in and year out.
And Wally Bono said that they have made a priority in the last few years to run the football against Edmonton. It's led to more success, and they've run the ball best when Kelvin Anderson has been the man. 3 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons, but he has become a focal point in the games against Edmonton. So a timeout on the field at McMahon with the Stampeders trailing by 5. Sun peeking through the clouds at McMahon Stadium, full house, and under 3 minutes to go, first quarter.
This is about a point in the game when you start to settle down as a player. In these big games, you're pretty much walking about a foot off the ground when you start, but about now you start to settle down, take a few hits.
Here's McCoy getting rid of the football, and Anderson was well covered on the play. Marcelo Simmons was in the neighborhood, and the pass overthrown.
You know, that's a matchup that'll favor Edmonton. Marcelo Simmons can cover Calvin Anderson. He doesn't want to get locked up on Vince Danielson or Alan Pitts very often, but he can definitely get out there and cover the tailback, and he was right on the spot and ran over Anderson. He had no chance to catch it.
Brock Preston had a 4-yard run while we were away, so it's 3rd down now, and Mike McCoy going over signals with George Cortez, the offensive coordinator. Mark McLaughlin checks back in.
Of course, Dave Dickinson is the holder, so that's the only thing he's done so far for Calgary, but I'm sure we will see him very soon.
Ashley, the lone man back, and he'll just watch it sail through. McLaughlin good for the 2nd time, and he cuts the lead. It's now Edmonton 8 and Calgary 6.
You talk about Mike McCoy and what he does. In this game so far, he's missed a couple of opportunities to put some majors on the board, but he hasn't thrown the football away, and that's what they've praised about Mike McCoy. 13 and a half quarters, he has not thrown an interception. He's not necessarily doing a whole lot of things to win games, but he's not losing them either, and he's letting his great talent around him win the games.
And what we've seen in the first quarter is a bit representative of the entire year for Calgary. They really haven't gelled yet on offense, and it's understandable since they've had to use 3 different quarterbacks. First Dickinson going down, and then Henry Burris, the number 2 man, so working with the number 3 quarterback right now. Elon Green goes back to work, and he has Mills wide open right side. And William Hampton finally gets a grasp on the running back, Troy Mills.
It's a game of matchups. Football is always a game of matchups. And that time, Troy Mills got out there on Darryl Hall, and they're going to go back to that. Darryl Hall came out of his back pedal and just fell down. That's how badly he was beaten by Troy Mills. Troy Mills pretty good out of the backfield. That time he lined up as a wide receiver, forcing Hall to go all the way to the sideline and cover him in space.
At the Calgary 52. Handoff goes inside, and again Mills. And that's the other newcomer in the Calgary defensive scheme, Kevin Johnson, the linebacker out of Ohio State.
Yeah, you got the 2 Johnsons back there, Johnson and Johnson flying around with Alondra and Kevin. And I asked Alondra Johnson, who of course is the veteran, is this guy for real? And he said, Kevin Johnson can play. All we got to do is make sure that he goes in the right place all the time. Because, you know, as a young guy, you can get a little excited, fly around and be making mistakes. But he has really learned the system here in Calgary and playing well.
Limited Mills to just 1, 2nd and 9. Green looks to this near side, Mark Tobert, and they say no catch, and Tobert will argue the call. Didn't matter, he was going to be well short of the first down.
Once again, Greg Frere showing blitz right here in the middle of your screen, and then he takes off and bails out of there. Greg Frere's has shown blitz a couple times on 2nd and long. One time Edmonton converted, the other time, of course, right here, they hold them short and make them punt the football. Obviously, Greg Frere is going to be a big part of this defensive game plan. Show some blitz. I wouldn't be surprised to see him take some blitz after a while as well.
Coleman and Hampton drop deep. And Marvin Coleman has had an outstanding season returning punts. He leads the CFL with an average of 12.1, and they short snap it. Scott Diebert. And the Edmonton Eskimos, Don Matthews, pulling out some stops on Labor Day.
And this is something that Matthews saw in the game plan, saw in the film during the week, and put this in especially for this game. That is a design play that he saw a weakness in the Calgary return team. The big gap, natural hole in the middle by alignment. And there is no one to catch him until the returner, Marvin Coleman, who lines up about 50 yards away from the line of scrimmage. So a design play, something that Don Matthews prides himself on, is to find these things during the week and put them in specific situations.
At the 25 of Calgary, here comes the rush. Elon Green gets it away. Touchdown, Terry Vaughn.
Chris, we talked about the safety, Greg Frere's being a factor. That time he came up, he showed blitz, and he came with the blitz. Elon Green recognized it and went right to the guy that you got to go to in one-on-one coverage with no safety help, and that's Terry Vaughn. He ran the corner route to perfection.
Oh, how sweet that is for Vaughn coming back to Calgary. As a member of the Eskimos, 4 times 1,000-yard receiver with the Stamps, and he comes back to haunt them on Labor Day. doesn't look like a 2-6 team so far this afternoon, does it? Baker adds the extra point. And the Edmonton Eskimos, with 1 quarter in the books here at McMahon, have a 15-6 lead over the hometown Stampeders. Leads the Canadian Football League in touchdowns with 8 TD receptions. Just looked into the camera and said, I've never lost on Labor Day and I don't plan to.
Yeah, he gets the one-on-one coverage because the safety Greg Frères was blitzing, and Terry Vaughn turns Jack Kellogg around a little bit, goes to the corner route. That's not easy because Kellogg is having a very good year, but he didn't have any safety help. Elon Green recognized it and went right to his number 1 man. When will we see him?
Wally Bono told us prior to the game we would see Dave Dickinson, and probably it would come in the second quarter. Well, the circumstances certainly may present themselves in the second quarter with the Stampeders in a 9-point hole. Baker kicking it off, and once again, it's Kelvin Anderson. This time tripped up at the 30-yard line. Good hustle downfield by Girard, who made the tackle.
Well, here he comes. He said second quarter, and he's bang on. Start of the second quarter, first series, Dave Dickinson's in the game.
Yeah, 4 seconds in.
You know, and it's not because Mike McCoy was playing poorly. This was a decision that was made before the game started, that Dave Dickinson would be in the second quarter after things settled down.
Dickinson relieved Jeff Garcia last year on Labor Day and did a job. 16 of 22, 210 yards, and he's back to work here, handing the ball off on the first play.
Anderson, number 32, plows ahead.
Anderson with a short gain. Dickinson was injured in the Edmonton game. You did that game, and it was an unusual injury.
Yeah, he had thrown a ball down the field, and he was just running after it. He really wasn't even hit. He just started running, kind of put his hands up in the air to celebrate, and that shoulder popped out. It was been rehabbing it, hasn't played for 6 weeks, but it's his non-throwing shoulder, so he's ready to go today.
Stampeders think that he may need surgery in the off-season. See him throw for the first time here on 2nd and long. Dumped it off. And Anderson across the 40 has a first down at the 43.
And you can see the timing coming back. Now, this is Dave Dickinson. You got to keep in mind, he has not played in 6 weeks, so it's surprising that he has got the timing that he does already in this first series.
There are the numbers in the first 15 minutes of football. Those 2 turnovers did not come back to haunt the Eskimos. They end up dominating.
Yeah, and of course they had the 2 big special teams plays in the first quarter as well.
First down, Dickinson fires. Danielson the catch. He makes the grab in front of Marcelo Simmons.
6 yards.
It's always the determining factor. Special teams are a third of the game. Everyone forgets about them. We talk about the great running backs, the great receivers, of course, quarterbacks, but special teams are often the difference. And right now, Edmonton has the edge. They have the block punt and the fake punt as well that set up the second touchdown.
6-yard pickup for Danielson, 2nd and 4. Dickinson has to get out of there. Flag has been thrown, and there's a completion. Travis Moore has the catch in Edmonton territory at the 46.
Dave Dickinson wanted to go to Alan Pitts on the out to the short side of the field, but Alan Pitts was covered nicely over there by Torrey Hunter. Torrey Hunter jumped up in there.
Edmonton, number 89, declined. First down, Calgary.
15-yard pickup for Moore stands, and a Calgary first down.
Dickinson was going to Alan Pitts all the way, but a little disguise in the coverage for Edmonton. They took him away. Dickinson had to go to the secondary receiver, Travis Moore.
You just saw 11-year veteran Leroy Blue in at defensive end for the Eskimos. Calgary moving the football under the reins of Dickinson. And the Montana grad throwing another strike. And that's another completion to Moore. And you know, his thoughts are with his brother. And the 5-day layoff between games, he went down to visit his brother Kelvin Moore. The defensive back for Cincinnati injured his neck in the game a couple of weeks ago against Detroit.
He has dedicated this season.
14 yards for Travis Moore. First and 10.
Travis Moore has really come together as a complete football player.
Fifth in the league in receiving. First down, Dickinson steps up. He'll test that shoulder here. He's tripped up.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. You don't really test the shoulder or any injury really as a quarterback until you run the ball and take a hit. And he didn't look like he was running scared anyway.
Robert Brown made the tackle. Ball spotted just outside the 25. And it'll be 2nd and 4 as Dickinson hits the turf for the first time.
And Alan Pitts could not have been more wide open on the play.
He's trying to find somebody. Second down, we'll see if he goes to 18. Looks over the middle, there's 18, and it skips in front of Alan Pitts.
You know what? Alan Pitts was a little slow coming out of his break, and that's not characteristic of Alan Pitts, but he tried to make a move, and when he did, he slowed down, and that's why the timing wasn't there. Dave Dickinson has to release the football before Alan Pitts gets to the spot. He's going to throw that ball before Pitts shows up. Now, Pitts is going to come into the screen late. The reason he's late, took too long coming out of his break. Too many head fakes that time.
Well, we've talked about him approaching the record. He wants to get it done today just to put it behind him and to do it for the hometown fans. Has a couple of catches this afternoon. Mark McLaughlin has to come in again. 4th field goal attempt already this afternoon. And McLaughlin puts it through for the 3rd time, cutting back into the Eskimo lead.
Eskimos 15, the Calgary Stampeders 9.
4 minutes into the 2nd quarter, the Edmonton Eskimos with the lead, trying to end a 6-game Labor Day losing streak against their arch rivals from southern Alberta.
Greg Frères, the safety, has been involved in a lot of this defensive scheme. He showed some blitz, dropped out of there, and then the one time he did blitz, Edmonton burned him. Terry Vaughn touchdown.
Haven't seen Nealon Green take off yet. See what he does here under the gun, and down he goes. Ball pops loose. Steve Anderson jarred the ball loose. It's still rolling around there, and the Eskimos appear to have gotten back on it.
Boy, Steve Anderson had a burst of speed to catch Nealon Green. Now, I know he's a little bit nicked, but Anderson came off the corner and accelerated to catch Green. Green didn't know he was there. Not running full speed by any means, but great speed by Steve Anderson to run him down from the backside. You never know when you're going to be a factor, and that's why coaches will always tell you, whether you're the backside of the play or the front side, you got to keep hustling because it could end up coming right down to you.
Loss of 8. This is not a big front 4 for Calgary, but they are quick. 2nd and 18, and Green scrambling. And steps out near the 30.
He looked like he limped a little bit. He started running this way. Nealon Green looked like he limped a little bit towards the sideline. That hamstring still may be a factor.
You talk to a lot of defensive players in this league, and they immediately refer to his blazing speed. And you can tell here that he is not 100%.
Right there, see there, right there, that's a little bit of a limp. He's favoring it a little bit. When you have a hamstring injury, even if it's healthy again, you're still not confident that you could push off quite as hard as you used to. It takes 3 weeks, even when it's back, to get that confidence.
Now this time, the Eskimos will punt the ball away. Matt Kellett. Calgary almost got to that. Coleman takes the line drive punt at his 35. And Marvin's off and running again. Up across the 50. The leading punt returner in the CFL was 16 on that bringback. Back at McMahon, 15-9 Eskimos, and concern for 15 on the bench, Nealon Green. 4th leading rusher in the league already with 522 yards, but We're wondering about his mobility this afternoon. Dave Dickinson goes back to work for the Stamps. Lots of time. Finally has to pull it down. No one was open. And he takes a knee in Edmonton territory, about the 52.
He takes a knee, but he should start thinking about sliding feet first, because that way you don't have to get hit, number one. And if you do, the hit comes over you, not into that shoulder. The way that Dave Dickinson goes down, he's inviting that hit right in the shoulder. Doesn't get it on that one, but if he keeps doing that, he just may.
Dickinson gets 7. 2nd and 3. Stampeders. Anderson hit, but bounced off the hit and got to the 50. He'll be a yard short.
Well, he's going to make it interesting for Wally Buono anyway. He's going to make a decision. And
pretty good collision there. Charles Asman and Kelvin Anderson.
Well, Anderson at least made it close. I mean, he did it on his own because Asman had him in the backfield for a loss of about 3. But Kelvin Anderson got that back and made it a decision, and Mike McCoy is in the game now.
McCoy 6'3", 205, and they'll protect Dickinson's shoulder here. And McCoy will push forward and should have the first.
Automatic first down, no question about that. McCoy just kind of fell forward. 6'3", that's really all you got to do. The only gamble really when you get a yard off the ball in that kind of situation is a fumbled snap. Offensively, you should get that every time.
Getting George Cortez, the offensive coordinator, he might be the first assistant coach to win Coach of the Year. The accolades he's got this year, he's done a terrific job working with the 3 quarterbacks here in Calgary. Here's the reverse. Moore coming around the end. Out in front, doesn't get the block and is down at the 40-yard line.
And Dickinson hurt his shoulder when he went for the block. He hit the ground. He missed the block, then hit the ground. And Dave Dickinson got up holding the shoulder.
There is a flag down, but of more concern is the status of Dickinson.
He's the guy who's going to get the lead block around the end. At least he's going to attempt
Major
to.
foul. Edmonton, number 89.
Come on,
First down.
See, when he missed Charles Anthony, Dickinson hit the ground, and he's coming out of the football game.
Major foul against Leroy Blue. Moves the ball 15 yards further downfield. Pat Clayton will attend to Dave Dickinson, and that's not a good sign.
Well, yeah, and you know he's disappointed because it happened on him blocking on a reverse.
You wonder about putting Dickinson in that situation. McCoy comes back in. First down, Anderson, short side of the field, and positive yardage as he steps out at the 18.
Well, full credit for Dave Dickinson to take off and try and make that block, but you're right. You know, you put him in a situation where he has to do that, and you're taking a gamble, and now Dickinson will watch from the sidelines. Mike McCoy tries to. Here's how he got hurt. Dave Dickinson, he misses the block on Anthony, then he trips and lands right there on the shoulder. He's on the bench because of it.
Mark at the 18, so it'll be 2nd and 3.
They were considering taping up the shoulder today and elected not to do that. But concern at the Calgary bench as McCoy operates 2nd down, and Anderson's not going to get the necessary yardage. Big play there by the big man, Doug Peterson. The Fort St. John native closed the door.
And Doug Peterson has been on and off the roster this year. He's had some injury problems and was sick for a game with the stomach flu. Doug Peterson is one of the best in the league when he gets some consistency. He's shown flashes this year in the Edmonton organization, but hasn't been consistent because he hasn't played consistent.
I say Fort St. John, but he now lists Charlie's Lake as his hometown. But suffice to say, the folks in northern BC are cheering for the big man today.
Dave Dickinson's in to hold on the field goal attempt. Now he just has to hope that it's not a high snap.
25-yard attempt for McLaughlin, who's been one of the busiest Stampeders so far today. puts another one through. And now Calgary is within a field goal. Dave Dickinson in some discomfort as Edmonton leads by 3. 1992, Edmonton won the Labor Day game. Calgary won the Grey Cup, and all these fans could do in the offseason was ask the Stampeders, what happened to you on Labor Day? That's the way it is.
You got to win on Labor Day.
It's a standalone game. Almost the significance of a playoff game when these two teams do battle. Edmonton electing to take the ball at the 35 and Green overthrowing Fred Bailey. That's not hard to do. They've got those Smurf receivers, Bailey, like Gizmo, listed at 5'8", but that's generous.
Yeah, then they got Terry Vaughn in there as well, who's definitely not, his nickname isn't Stretch either. But boy, they can really do something when they got the football in their hands.
Those were the numbers against Calgary in that shootout game. Not only 309 yards in the air, but he ran for 74. We're wondering how much he can run this afternoon. Second down, there's Vaughn trying to shake a couple of tackles, but Alondra Johnson won't let go, and he stopped at the 40, short of a first down.
Amazing that Nealon Green even got that ball out of there, because the Calgary Stampeders were sending some pressure. Daryl Hall was in the backfield. Nealon Green, he knew he didn't have enough people up front to block everybody. Here comes Daryl Hall. He puts the hit on him. He knows he has to get the football away. He is responsible for the blitzing linebacker. And when I mean that, I don't mean obviously that he has to block him. I mean that he has to throw that football before he gets home. He finally got it out of there, but not enough for the first down.
Under 5 minutes remaining, first half. Here's Kellett getting ready to kick to the leading punt returner in the CFL, Marvin Coleman. Already returned 2 for touchdowns this year. At the 26. Good coverage downfield by Edmonton. That's Philippe Girard, first man down.
It's Girard.
Very good coverage, because you mentioned Marvin Coleman has really put it on the punt returns. Said early in the year that he wasn't getting a whole lot of blocking up front. In fact, he was getting quite frustrated, but they've really come on. They've helped out Marvin Coleman, and he has broken a couple in a row. You mentioned the 2 touchdowns, and he now feels a lot more confident when he catches those punts. But if Edmonton keeps covering the way they are, it might be a long afternoon for him.
Dave Dickinson back in. If you said to me in the break, Kelvin Anderson becomes more important now. They fake to Anderson. Get the ball to Marcus Dowdell. That's a former Eskimo. He'd like to answer the Terry Vaughn big play with one of his own.
Taken down by the Eskimos, number 28.
Once again, a reminder to log on to our CFL on CBC internet site. There's the address. Get all the latest happenings in the league. 6 yards for Dowdell. So 2nd and 4. And Dickinson hammered there. Terry Ray came across.
And it's Terry Ray, the DB.
He's the dime back, or the linebacker that's really a defensive back, and he nailed Dickinson.
Yeah, he's the tweener, and he was lined up on the backside. He kind of looked like he was going to cover Alan Pitts, and then he bounced off of it and came on the blitz off the edge. No one picked him up. Dave Dickinson had no chance to throw the football. Pretty good disguise by a young player in Terry Ray. I mean, young to the CFL. Comes off the edge. He made it look like he was trying to cover Alan Pitts.
He's a player, though. 5 years free safety with the New England Patriots and 10 tackles last week in the game against Hamilton in that new position. Third down to Martino. Punting it away. Terry Vaughn trying to shake loose, and Andre Arlane is the man to finish him off. 38-yard punt and a 4-yard return by the former Stampeder. Flags on the field.
I think it's going against Edmonton, so they'll have to back that up another 15 yards before they start this drive.
3:11 to go.
Holding Edmonton, number 45, first down.
Anthony Hicks, a newcomer to Don Matthews' squad. Back backup middle linebacker is called.
Boy, there is a lot of newcomers on that team. Don Matthews hasn't got out to a bad start, or this bad a start, since he was a high school coach.
Back to the 35 for the Eskimos, 1st and 10.
Back at the 35, it's a first down. Green looked like he was going to use that little option flip, but kept it, and not much there. Jermaine Miles makes the tackle, and the 3-minute warning given to both benches here at McMahon.
It's called the timeout. Just 30 seconds, guys.
Ken Lazarick telling us there's a timeout, and you're talking about the new faces. Most of the new faces in this game are wearing green and gold.
Yeah, that's what you talk about, the 24 new faces. I mean, this is a team that is rich in tradition, and you talk about the Eskimo mystique. Well, none of them know about it, and there's not a whole lot of guys around to explain it. A whole bunch of newcomers over there that even if they played on other teams, they don't know what it's like to be an Edmonton Eskimo. Melvin Hunter may be the only one. He's pretty quiet by nature, so we're trying to learn all about that Edmonton mystique.
And on the other side, most of the newcomers for Calgary are in backup roles. Just 4 starters weren't here last year. Green not able to get outside. Darryl Hall finished him off.
Well, you know, it's one thing to call the quarterback sweep when you're down in the goal line area and you got Nealon Green, but I think it's another when you're in 2nd and 10, and I don't know if even Nealon Green's going to run by everybody in that Calgary defense. I mean, this is a design call. He puts it under his arm immediately. There's no way that he's throwing that football. There's linemen downfield. He gets a good lead block out in front of him on Alonzo Johnson by Theo Groenwagen, but I don't know if you're going to pick up 10 yards with that play.
Eskimos have a 3-point lead, but they'll punt the ball away in the final 3 minutes of this first half. Coleman and Hampton are back. This time it'll be William Hampton. From his 25, steps up. Scott Dybert knocked it loose, but Orlane's got it, and he's going to run with it across midfield. There is a flag down, but a Calgary bounce and an alert play by Orlane, a special teams guy for the Stamps. 48-yard punt, but that return's coming back.
Got to be good to be lucky and a little lucky to be good, or something like that.
Holding, Calgary, number 44, first down.
Coming all the way back.
Newcomer Kevin Johnson. And Chuck McMahon will confer with him. Chuck in charge of the special team for Calgary.
See, Kevin Johnson covers punts as well, so he's saying, well, wait a minute, they hold me every time I cover a punt. I go around and do it on my turn, and I get called for it.
Boy, and with the penalty, that's a 46-yard loss from where Orlane took it into Edmonton territory. It's all the way back to the 15.
32 back 0.
So Dickinson's got his work cut out for him to get more points on the board in this first half. Ball tipped and nearly picked off, but Melvin Hunter couldn't squeeze the pigskin.
When it's a 3-step drop by the quarterback, in other words, he takes a couple steps back and then lets it go, defensive linemen don't have the opportunity to get the sack. They don't really have an opportunity to get upfield, so they're taught to get their hands up in a hurry. Melvin Hunter shows a pretty good vertical, and then his athletic ability, he almost comes up with that.
You know, Glenn, I was amazed to see just 1 sack for Melvin Big Game Hunter so far this year after an outstanding 98 campaign. Blitz was coming, but they were a little anxious and jumped the gun.
They're coming back with that Terry Ray blitz off the edge, and he was free again. There's 2 ways you can do it. When the linebacker like Terry Ray comes off the corner like that, you either have to put your back over there and try and block him, or you have to beat him by throwing the football to that spot. And over there on that spot is Alan Pitts. So that's probably the way they will choose to try and attack this blitz from Terry Ray, because so far he's been pretty successful.
It's against Edmonton, and will give Calgary a 2nd and 5.
Offside, Edmonton, number 28, still second down.
He's trying to time it, so he hits that blitz on the fly. He backs off about 4 yards, and then will head towards the line of scrimmage. Quarterbacks, if they stagger their count, can make it tougher to time up blitzes and buy themselves an extra second or two.
Looks like he's got a chance of being a dominant defensive player. 2nd and 5, Anderson. Anderson wrapped up there. Good defensive play by Hunter.
Malvin Hunter knows what it's like to play on Labor Day and how important it is to win this game. That's why you're going to see Malvin Hunter make some plays. He made 2 big ones on that series. He knocked down the first pass on first down and then eliminates Calvin Anderson, doesn't allow him to get it on second.
And what a costly penalty that was against the Stampeders. It backed them up. They were thinking of putting points on the board late in the half, and now it's Edmonton. They're going to get the ball. About 2 minutes to go in pretty good field position.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about the change in field position. Even if they go 2 and out and punt the football, Edmonton's starting deep in their end of the field. Now, with any type of return, they're going to be in scoring range when they get the ball.
Ashley back with Fred Bailey. So 2 men back. You wondered if they were going to take another run at Martino. Check that. It's Terry Vaughn and not Bailey joining Ashley, awaiting the punt.
Well, they're setting up the return. They're where they're aligned at the line of scrimmage.
Martino was trying to draw them offside and couldn't get it done. 3rd and 4, and they tried to draw the Eskimos offside to get the first down.
They couldn't do it because Edmonton was in a return mode. You talked about the decision maybe to send them and see if they can block a punt.
Still 3rd down.
If they send them and try and block a punt on Tony Martino, those guys up front are all on the line of scrimmage at 3-point stance, and they're all trying to get up there, and that's where you can maybe draw them offside. But if you're in a return mode as a return team, you're standing straight up, and you don't care what the snap count is because you're ready to catch your man and block him.
And now the field position should be even better. The return men awaiting near midfield. In Calgary territory, it's Ashley. And he really took a lick in there and goes down at the 50. A 39-yard Martino punt and a 3-yard return as we join Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Chris. Coming up during our Canadian Airlines halftime, we'll go beyond the game with one of the all-time great receivers in the CFL, Alan Pitts of the Stampeders. Chris Walby will be along with Pro Tips, and the guys in the booth will analyze this interesting and perhaps surprising first half. That's on the Canadian Airlines halftime show.
And Steve, just to update anybody joining us late, Alan Pitts trying to become the all-time leading receiver in terms of yardage today, but so far held in check. 2 catches, 24 yards. Flags fly, Nealon Green looking for Vaughn. Now will go the other way and has a receiver open. Troy Mills with the catch at the 41. And again, there is a penalty marker on the field.
Nealon Green was looking over there to Terry Vaughn, and William Hampton was sitting in coverage. And Nealon Green is not going to take a chance of throwing it over there with William Hampton sitting there. 5 interceptions on the season for Hampton. 3 went for touchdowns.
Calgary, first down.
But Calgary had their prevent defense and they had 13 men.
You could run them up like that, you'd be pretty good defense.
No wonder Nealon Green was looking around trying to find somebody open and not finding anybody open.
First and 10 at the Calgary 37.
First and 10, Edmonton at the Stamp 37. Give inside Mills, and he pulls his way to the 31.
30-yard line. It's a gain of 6.
Mills gets about 5, but Alonzo Johnson fired in there and really made it difficult. Mills had to do it after contact because Alonzo Johnson, the veteran, he was right there at the point of attack.
180th game for AJ. Outstanding defensive player in the West last year. And he's led the Stamps in tackles 7 of the last 8 years, and he's doing it again this year. 2nd and 4. Green, good protection, pumps once, and now in trouble. Jacobs, and they bring him down. Ray Jacobs and Jermaine Miles were there and dropped Nealon Green for a big loss.
Nealon Green, I think, initially wanted to go to that matchup we talked about before with Troy Mills on Darryl Hall, the wide receiver position, but Darryl Hall jammed Troy Mills right out of bounds. Nealon Green had to look to the secondary receivers and the third receiver, and when he couldn't find them, couldn't see Tolbert. Tolbert was the fourth, so he didn't have time to get to the fourth receiver, even though he was open. That rush bear down on him. Jacobs and Jermaine Miles got to him.
That was huge, a loss of 17. It knocks Edmonton right out of field goal range.
Eskimos.
Minute 10 left, first half, clock running. You wouldn't try that short snap again, would you?
Well, no, I don't think you can fool him twice.
Just one man back for Calgary. And this time the Eskimos take too long.
Well, the Eskimos are going to punt this away. They know they're not going to get the signal. They're too far out, so...
Time count violation, Edmonton, number 14, still third down.
What they do is they kill as many seconds as they can, then punt the football, then cover it, and not give Dave Dickinson and the Calgary offense too much time to put a drive together and come away with points before the half.
But we've seen in the first 30 minutes why a lot of people think this is a lot better team than 2-6 in Edmonton for their losses by a combined total of 13 points. And the feeling is in Edmonton, a win here today could be the springboard to a big second half of the year. Here's Coleman. Trying to get outside and does. Still going. Shakes a tackle, and Marvin Coleman is into Edmonton territory. Boy, he's having a great year, and in recent weeks he seems to be racking up big returns. That was a 47-yarder after a 40-yard punt.
Well, he got some help from Elijah Johnson and William Hampton at the first point of attack, and once he got that big block, then it was on his own. He made a lot of people miss and not very much space. The way he's running right now, he can make you miss in a phone booth.
Marvin Coleman has a
Big play, and now he gives with 2 first downs. It gives a chance for Dave Dickinson to put some points on the board.
36 seconds left in the first half. Time for Calgary to do some damage. Dickinson in trouble. Down he goes. Back at midfield. And the second-year man, Robert Brown, with the sack.
Brown gets the sack. Leroy Blue gets the pressure. Leroy Blue makes the play coming off the edge. He comes off in a hurry, beats his man cleanly off the edge. Dickinson has to pull it down, and when he steps up and pulls it down, Robert Brown is there to take him down.
Loss of 7, 2nd and 17. Dickinson steps up, gets it away. Dowdell with the catch at the 35-yard line. He's got a first down.
They got time for about 2 more plays before they got to try and put that field goal team out there.
20 seconds on the clock. And time will not be blown in until Doug Peterson gets across the line of scrimmage. It's a 3-point Eskimo lead. Late first half, here comes the blitz. Dickinson ducked under it and throws a strike. And that's Travis Moore at the 25. Another first down, 10 seconds left. And now a couple of injured ball players on the field. Time for one more play before the field goal.
I think they can get one more in if it's a quick timing pattern to the outside. I can't believe Dave Dickinson avoided that rush.
One of the big O-linemen down. Looks like Jay McNeil, who has had a knee problem this year.
The blitz came free off the edge, and I don't know how Dave Dickinson got away from it because he had to be looking downfield. In fact, I don't think he was looking to the side that the blitz was coming from, but somehow he felt it, got underneath and got that one out of there, give his team a chance. They're looking at McNeil's knee.
Jay McNeil, London, Ontario native. And Wally Buono stressed that since he's been back off the knee injury, it's been a much better offensive line. 26 sacks allowed by the Calgary front going into this game, but most of those were early when McNeil was out.
They really had some problems replacing Fred Childress. Byron Thomas in there at the guard position. Ron Meyer and Rocco Romano on the tackles have really played pretty well all year, and Jamie Crysdale solid in the middle. But the guards have been a bit of a problem. You mentioned Jay McNeil comes back. That really solidified that spot. And Byron Thomas is starting to play better every game.
10 seconds remaining in this first half, and Wally Buono concerned with the impact of a McNeil injury.
Now there's two schools of thought that Wally Buono might be going through right now. You put the field goal team on now, and if you have a miscue, a fumbled snap, and recover it, you get another chance with time on the clock to kick it again, or you take one crack at it and then kick the field goal, and he's going to attempt to go at it one play and then put the field goal team on if he doesn't get it.
And if the play's properly executed, they should still have time. See if they take a full shot at the end zone. Dickinson back. Looks into the end zone, open man, touchdown! Marcus Dowdell, the former Eskimo.
It's amazing in the Canadian Football League how quickly it can happen. The Edmonton Eskimos were on their way to the locker room, and then Marvin Coleman gave Calgary another chance and a big return.
The first time Calgary met Edmonton, he said he was pressing against his former team. Boy, he was wide open in the corner.
Was he ever? Busted coverage by the Edmonton secondary. Dickinson bought some time. In fact, when he bought the time, he was really killing their chance for a field goal. But there was Dowdell wide open. Broken coverage back there. Calgary made the pay.
McLaughlin adds the extra point. Dowdell's first touchdown as a Stampeder. And it gives Calgary the lead with 3 seconds left in the first half.
First half, special teams have been the difference for the Edmonton Eskimos. They got the block punt and the fake punt that set up points, and now Marvin Coleman's big return in the dying seconds of this half. Dowdell makes him pay for it. They're trying to figure out just how that coverage was busted so badly. Dowdell was so wide open in the end zone.
It's like it, just like you said.
It had been a very strong first half for the beleaguered Eskimo defense.
Boy, and full credit to Dave Dickinson on the drive. He kept that drive alive. He avoided a blitz down before that, then bought some time and found Dowdell in the end zone. Remember, he's playing hurt right now. Re-injured that shoulder earlier in the game.
6th touchdown pass of the year for Dickinson.
That's big. That's momentum into the half.
Swift kick. Bouncing down the field. Red Bailey on the final play. Forced out of touch by Greg Freres. That will do it. Pretty interesting first half. A lot of things happen, and the coaches have a lot of things to sort out. Coming up, the Canadian Airlines halftime show with Steve Armitage. 19:15 at halftime. Loosening up for the second half of the Labor Day Classic from McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Dave Dickinson throwing a touchdown pass in the final minute that has staked Calgary to a 19-15 lead after 30 minutes.
Both quarterbacks had to struggle through some injury problems. Nealon Green looked like the hamstring bothered him in the first quarter, but he stayed in the game, and Dave Dickinson hurt his shoulder again. He also stayed in. Not huge numbers, but workmanlike numbers. Pretty good percentages.
You know, last year Labor Day, Edmonton had only 99 yards passing in the entire game. But I think the big thing for Green is whether or not he can get any running game established, because that's when he's at his best. He's a double threat back there for the Eskimos when he's healthy. Calgary won the toss and deferred till the second half, so they've got the ball now, and it's in the hands of Brock Preston. And he's dangerous too. Brock Preston up near the 50-yard line. 29-yard return to get things started in the second half and get Dave Dickinson in the offense. Pretty good field position to get going.
Talking about Dave Dickinson's injury. You know, when you're playing on Labor Day, you have to lose your arm to come out of a football game.
I was thinking about our old buddy Dan Kepley. We're talking about a sore shoulder, and he's thinking, come on, it's Labor Day.
Yeah, it's a long way from your heart. Strap an aspirin to it and get back in there.
First down, Stamps. Let's see if they carry on the momentum they gained late in that first half. Looking downfield for the man who caught the touchdown pass. And Dowdell thought he was bumped along the way.
You know, you always talk about coaches going in at halftime and making adjustments, and that was something that I'm sure George Cortez went in there and said, we got to go deep on Anthony Fogle. Dickinson has to throw it at when he did because of that pressure and the hit that he took. If he could have waited another split second, he would have had Dowdell in behind Anthony Fogle. That's something that George Cortez takes at halftime. He says, listen, we got to test the rookie deep.
Brett McNeil has been nicked again, up quicker this time, and he's one of those Kepley kind of guys. He's going to play through it until they finally cart him off.
They have to stay out for his mandatory 3 plays, but you know he'll be back. Young Yul Kim comes in the game for him.
Second and 10, Calgary from the Stampede 48.
So second and 10 for the Stampeders. Dickinson had a chance to confer on this second down play selection with George Cortez. Here comes that rush, and they've got him. He's nailed the wave with Melvin Hunter, Doug Peterson combining. And they're going to test the shoulder of Dickinson and his medal.
Melvin Hunter is having himself a game today. He comes off the edge, and he will not be denied. He's the guy who starts things out. He's the guy who gets there first and makes Dave Dickinson step up in the pocket, and when he does, he steps into the hands of Eric Johnson and Doug Peterson. Melvin Hunter is getting off today.
Three-time Western All-Star and All-Canadian, and last year the Eskimos nominee for not only the top defensive player, but the outstanding player with the green and gold. Here's Terry Vaughn back, awaiting the punt from Tony Martino. And it will be TV at his 23. And Vaughn upended, great downfield tackle. Aubrey Cummings, first man down, and Vaughn, an old teammate, exchanges a smile with Cummings.
For Tony Martino, and 9 for
That's a pretty good downfield tackle against a very elusive Terry Vaughn. He flips him up in the air with just the one arm. That's pretty strong for a receiver. I know all the receivers around are now saying, oh yeah, only defensive back. But no, that's pretty strong. That's a good tackle in the open field.
So the Eskimos will start at their own 32, first possession, second half. Troy Mills up near the 35. Ray Jacobs hanging on.
You know, both defensive lines are playing real well here this afternoon. I mean, this Calgary defensive line has got some big plays out of Ray Jacobs and Jermaine Miles. Think back to that sack late in the second half that took Edmonton out of field goal range. They're really getting some pressure on the quarterback, as is the Edmonton defense.
Marazio and Bob Vespasiani up in the spotter's booth for Calgary. Second and 7, and Green flag down, pumped once. Jermaine Miles in pursuit. He won't catch Nealon Green, who's out near the 50. Let's find out what the flag's all about.
Well, there's a couple back there in that holding zone, but I'll tell you one thing, Nealon Green's hamstring looked pretty good on that run. If there was any question as to whether or not he can continue, his hamstring looked fine, but may be coming back.
Find out what Ken Lazarick has.
Holding, Edmonton, number 56. Second down repeated.
That's the center, El Mashtu. And that negates one of Green's best rushes of the day.
See that little stunt in there by Ray Jacobs. He comes around Jeff Traversy, and when he does, he goes right through Keesham Elmastu. Runs right over him. Elmastu playing really ill before the game, and he's trying to stick it out.
Former All-American from Arizona State, the native of Laval. Green again running, and he gets
the carry again has
up to the 36.
He'll be 5 short.
Flags fly late.
Penalty markers.
Got 3 markers down. As the officials hang out the laundry after that play had been dead for a couple of seconds.
Wally Buono, he's going to get a few gray hairs if this is against Calgary after the fact, because he held Edmonton. His defense holds Edmonton short of the first down. This is against Calgary. He may lose it.
Surprised to see the Stampeders, a veteran team, lead the league in penalties, and that's uncharacteristic for a Wally Buono club.
It really is, and you know, the ones that frustrate them the most are this kind, the kind after the fact.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary, number 9, first on Edmonton.
Aldi Henry. That is a stare that's got to scare you as a player, and I don't care how good you are. Aldi Henry gets hit late, probably got up swinging. They always get the retaliation.
So the ball all the way up to the 52 of Edmonton, and the Eskimos get a free set of downs. Jermaine Miles with the tackle of Troy Mills.
Number 20, the ball carrier.
Now wearing a flak jacket and yet another rib injury this year. The ribs have plagued his career, but he keeps coming back.
He keeps coming back, and they need him badly. Coming into this game, their number 1 rusher was Nealon Green, the quarterback. You got to get your quarterback some help. If Nealon Green is doing all the running, he's also taking all the hits. That'll wear on you as the season progresses.
2nd and 5 as Green gets it into Calgary territory. Rush on from Anderson, and Green, elusive, takes off. And took a hit. Alondra Johnson and Marvin Coleman unload, but look at Green.
You gotta love that. That's, you know, you gotta do that. It doesn't matter how much you're hurt. You gotta jump up. Even if the defensive back or the linebacker that hits him, both jump up and say, you didn't hurt me. You did not hurt me. That was a first down.
But when you point, you just want to make sure you're pointing in the right direction.
Exactly. No question about that. Because sometimes you're not. Like, you could get hurt. Like, that's a big hit. Marvin Coleman from one side, Alondra Johnson the other. He gets up and says, no, first down. Didn't hurt me one bit.
Well, as if the first half he was just kind of feeling it out, but he's gaining confidence and now gives it back to Mills. Big hole up the middle, and Troy Mills has a first down into the Calgary secondary and down to the 31.
How big is the Aldi Henry penalty right now? All of a sudden, in a couple of plays, the Edmonton Eskimos are in field goal range and knocking on the door to score a major. In a tight game, one penalty can be the difference. And Aldi Henry right now is in the doghouse with Wally Buono, you know that.
Another Eskimo first down. Stamp showing blitz. Fake to Mills, and now the pass, Andre Batson, touchdown! Check that, Donnie Ashley with the score. What a fake by Green. 32 yards, Green to Ashley, and the Eskimos regain the lead.
When you blitz like the Calgary Stampeders did, everyone has to take care of their responsibilities, and Ray Jacobs doesn't do his. His is contained. When Nealon Green can bounce to the outside, he has the perfect sight line to find Donnie Ashley, and it's one-on-one coverage because Calgary going with the all-out blitz. If one player does his job in Ray Jacobs, Nealon Green has no play.
Ashley's first touchdown in the CFL, and the Edmonton Eskimos have regained the lead. Here early in the third quarter, Nealon Green looking dangerous. And Philippe Girard continues to get attention. Let's find out what happened to Girard on the kickoff return.
Calvin Anderson fumbled the ball. That's Girard right there in the middle of it. Looks like he went down hard on his knee and then he got rolled on after that. Right there. His own guy, Scott Dybert, dropped right on his back. They're looking at that knee, the knee that he landed on. Sooner or later, the Calgary Stampeders will find that guy again.
Look at the remarkable numbers. Second in catches to only Donald Narcisse, and second in yardage to Ray Elgard. That could change this afternoon.
5,900-yard games.
And when he gets there, the Calgary Stampeders usually win.
Yeah, and you know, this guy, consistency throughout his career, combining great speed and physical size. He has an uncanny knack of finding the open area. You talk about hockey players that have that knack of finding open ice. Well, that's what Alan Pitts has done in his career. He finds a way to get in that seam in that one area where there's an opening. And right now, Edmonton's been double covering him a little bit with Terry Ray, but you know, as this game moves on, he's going to find that open field.
Wally Bono calls him the common denominator in this decade of excellence here in Calgary. Let's see if Dave Dickinson can find him on this drive, which has already been stalled by a procedure call.
Yeah, I think his guys left early.
I think Kim was the first man to move the new left guard.
Procedure, Calgary, number 59, still first down.
Well, they're going to call Rocco Romano, but I think it was the left guard.
Yeah, I think it was Kim as well, and he's in for Jay McNeil. And you know, right now Dave Dickinson is trying to stagger the snap count. Edmonton is showing some blitz and occasionally blitzing. If he staggers the snap count, he gives himself a chance to see what the defense is, and Kim got caught.
Given his fourth year as a reserve offensive lineman, 1st and 15, and look who's got the ball. Charles Anthony hanging on. It was an unusual tackle by Anthony.
Grab something and hang on in the open field. Wait for your friends to show up, and that's exactly what Charles Anthony did.
He was trying to crack Pitts' knuckles there. Well, 10 years ago, Alan Pitts made his debut in BC. Caught a pass from Danny Barrett, then dropped the ball.
That's funny, you know, because when Ray Elgard broke the record that Alan Pitts is about to break, he fumbled the ball on the catch that broke it. That's interesting.
Saw later in the game, though, Pitts made amends.
Yeah.
And another procedure call, I believe, upcoming against the Stamps.
That was Danny Barrett playing quarterback back then, wasn't it?
6 different quarterbacks have thrown touchdown passes to Pitts in this decade.
Legal procedure, Calgary, number 62, still second down.
Young Yo Kim again, he's having trouble with the snap count. Doesn't get a lot of reps during the week. Jay McNeil gets all the reps in the first team, so he's a little anxious on Labor Day. He was standing on the sideline for the whole game.
2nd and 10 now from the 18.
So it's 2nd and 10 now. After the second penalty in 3 plays against Kim. Dickinson got away. And a lot of room opened up for Dave Dickinson up to the 40-yard line and a Calgary first down.
You gotta love the way Dave Dickinson just took off and ran in. He didn't want to hook slide. He wanted to get all the yards he could. He's playing hurt. He's got the bad shoulder. He said, I don't care. It's more important that we get that extra yard. He took the hit for it. First of all, evades the rush by Doug Peterson. Now watch him go. Now I love the end of this play. This is the best part of this play. He could have hook slide right there. He said, no, I'm taking the hit, and actually delivers a blow on Chris Hardy.
23 yards on the run for Dave Dickinson. And Calgary, a better field position now to go to work. And Kelvin Anderson has 5, close to the 45.
I'm telling you, guys on your team love to see that from a quarterback, especially one that is not known for his running ability. And when they see Dave Dickinson do something like that, the offensive line get fired up, running backs and receivers get fired up, really can be a momentum changer.
He is not going to challenge Nealon Green for the rushing title among quarterbacks this year, even if the shoulder stays healthy.
No shot.
2nd and 6, Stampeders. Dickinson hits, and it got to the intended receiver on a hop, and it'll be 3rd down. Ken Watson in coverage against Pitts, and they still have been unable to spring the brilliant Pitts this afternoon.
You know, Ken Watson is doing a pretty nice job of denying Alan Pitts the middle of the field. One thing that Alan Pitts often likes to do is try to get inside on the defensive back and then work right down the seam. And Ken Watson and or Charles Anthony are both doing a pretty good job of making him stay to the outside. And Dickinson really doesn't have time to wait for Pitts to open up. I talked about how Malvin Hunter was coming off the corner pretty quickly throughout this game. Dickinson has to throw it on time, and Pitts isn't getting into the middle.
Midway through the 3rd quarter, and Martino back in to punt. Donnie Ashley, who has the touchdown in the 2nd half, will stutter step and gets it ahead to the 25. 50-yard punt from Martino. A 9-yard return. Nealon Green going back to work. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium. The sun breaking out here in the 2nd half on the turf at McMahon Stadium. And cheerleaders trying to get these fans revved up, but the Edmonton Eskimos have done a good job of keeping the lid on things here. Here's Troy Mills, and he's nailed as he crossed the line of scrimmage. That's the newcomer, Kevin Johnson, along with Jeff Traversy.
Daryl Hall makes the play at the point of attack. He blows up the block right at the point of attack, and that allows his teammates to get there to make the tackle.
And Traversy still down. The Canadian defensive lineman.
Well, here comes Daryl Hall. You can see number 4. See how he takes on the block of Sean Millington? He turns Millington away, and then Kevin Johnson's allowed to come over and make the tackle. And somewhere in the mix there, Jeff Traversy went down and still down.
Traversy coming into his own this year in his 3rd year in the league.
Last year he had some injury problems, missed about 4 games. Really didn't get in there, get a point where he could start to play consistently, but he really has come along this year to be a consistent performer. In fact, this whole defensive line has really picked it up and been really impressed with their game here this afternoon. Ray Jacobs has played well. Missed containment on the 1 touchdown, but other than that, has played pretty much flawlessly. Jermaine Miles had a pretty good game, as is Steve Anderson.
He's had a tough act to follow, following in the footsteps of Stu Laird. So many great years on the line in Calgary. And they also had another great Canadian defensive lineman in Harold Hasselback now with the Denver Broncos. So Pat Clayton back to work, and Traversy ready to leave the field.
At the end of the day,
There's Mark Tobert with a catch and a 1st down for the Eskimos up near the 40-yard line. Aldi Henry's back in for Calgary, and he was in on the tackle.
Well, Aldi Henry has to play now because of the injury. They're going to move Daryl Hall up to the line of scrimmage and put Aldi Henry back in the secondary and play with extra DBs. Marvin Coleman takes a chance in the open field and just knifes in there to try and make the tackle. If he breaks down, he maybe holds Mark Tobert short.
Ball just shy of the 39-yard line. 1st down, Edmonton. And again, it's Mills with room left side. Troy Mills, a 1st down and all the way to midfield.
Jeff Traversy has to stay out for 3 plays, and in those 3 plays, I wouldn't be surprised to see Edmonton go right back to Troy Mills and try and take advantage of a much smaller defensive line now for the Calgary Stampeders. They've moved Daryl Hall up to the line of scrimmage.
You know, statistically, you wouldn't think Edmonton was 2-6. They're number 2 offensively running the football, and number 3 in total yards with just about 350 per game. And they're finding their way offensively this afternoon. Now Nealon Green, and he'll get 10 more as a flag flies. Green stopped at the Calgary 44. It is a 1st down pending the penalty.
holding Edmonton, number 56. First down, repeated.
Keesham Elmistu really struggled last week versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Edmonton Eskimos lost that game. He really didn't have a great game. Of course, we mentioned that he was sick coming into this one, so it's been tough for a comeback for Keesham Elmistu.
Grew up in Laval, played at Vanier College, and then that distinguished career at Arizona State. So first and 20 after the penalty, back at the Edmonton 45, and a time count, or a timeout being called. Green wants to confer with Don Matthews on the sidelines.
Well, he either didn't have the right personnel or the right play called for the personnel that he had on the football field, and he had to burn his timeout. And in a game that is as close as this one, that could come back to haunt him down the stretch, because that's a miscue by the offense. Either the wrong substitution or the wrong play called for the personnel that was out there. You want to save that timeout in a close game for when you may need it later on.
It came down to the wire in the Toronto-Hamilton game today, and well, we just saw how frantic the action was here in the final minute of the first half. So you don't want to use it with 4:07 to go in the third quarter.
And now he has to hurry up. He only has 4 seconds on the time clock to snap this football.
First and 20, and they do get the play off. Green rolling and trying to turn it upfield. Caught from behind by Kevin Johnson and took another big hit, this time from William Hampton.
Oh, he's taken some big hits and jumped right back up. But the Calgary Stampeders continue to have problems up front keeping contained. This time it's Steve Anderson's turn. He goes with the play action, and that's why Darryl Hall from the backside is in the chase. You know, you got to think with a guy like Nealon Green that is something on the mind of the defensive line for Calgary, is to keep him in the pocket.
Second and 11. Swings it out the far side, and it hopped into the hands of Tobert. That's an incomplete pass.
Mark Tobert, number 31, the intended receiver.
Well, that time the Calgary defensive line did exactly what I was just talking about. They stayed wide. They made Nealon Green a passer.
What the fuck is this?
Looked like they made him a victim. He looked shaken up.
Looked like he was in pain there as he was heading to the bench. One thing about Labor Day that you know, it's going to be physical. Doesn't matter what the records are, they're going to be hitting out there.
And some of the vocabulary on the field may not be suitable for family viewing.
Yeah.
There's Matt Kellett. Just got it away. Marvin Colvin did well just to get it over the 20. And there's another penalty marker on the field. We'll sort it out when we return as Don Matthews confers with his young quarterback. It's the third straight Labor Day sellout at McMahon, 7th in the last 8 years. Edmonton with the lead. And don't always follow the football. That's not always where the action's taking place.
Well, on a punt return or a punt, it's always a barroom brawl anyway, but on Labor Day, you take the brawl out in the street and it becomes an all-out street fight. And that time, Jack Kellogg and Scott Dybert were going at it.
Stampeders backed up, back at their 10-yard line, and that pass knocked down. Marcelo Simmons gets a hand on it.
And if he does it, it's in Pitt's hands. His own defense, Marcelo Simmons, just times his jump and gets up there. It's always a gamble when you leave your feet. Quarterback pulls it down, you really can't make the move, but you can see how open Alan Pitts was in behind.
Well, the Eskimos, a rich tradition on defense, but they've struggled this year. 7th against the run, 7th in total yardage, 7th in passing defense. That's where the improvement has to come in the second half of the season, but we've seen some great strides by the green and gold so far this afternoon, and they're going to back Calgary up a little further here.
No surprise.
Legal procedure, Calgary, number 69, Still second down.
And it's no surprise where the leadership came from with this Edmonton defense. You talked about the game that Malvin Hunter is having. It's not a surprise that the guy who's leading this defense into a real good game here this afternoon knows what it's like to play on Labor Day and how important it is.
That's why they call him Big Game Hunter. Second and 15. Dickinson in trouble. Got out of the end zone. Tosses it. A little unorthodox there. Was he over the line of scrimmage? If he was, that's a forward lateral. If not, a completed pass to Anderson. And a flag down, and Dickinson arguing that he was behind the line of scrimmage, but I think he lost track of where he was.
Well, the line of scrimmage was right on the 5-yard line. So let's just take a look and see if he was across it and if the ball was forward.
Oh, he's okay.
Now it's a matter of whether or not that ball went forward or backwards. If it's backwards, it's a lateral.
Walk it up. Walk it up. Offside pass. Calgary, number 15. Third down.
Well, they're calling an offside pass. That replay would suggest that he was behind the line of scrimmage.
They're pretty close. Either way, Calvin Anderson didn't have enough for the first down, so just a matter of where Tony Martino's going to punt from, if he's going to punt at all.
If you're behind the line of scrimmage, you can lateral the ball underhand. That's a pass Doug Flutie used to great advantage with Pinball Clemens in the Grey Cup years. And Martino will concede a safety here.
Yeah, and it's a good move because you know you're going to punt the ball away. Edmonton's going to get the ball in almost field goal range immediately. A couple first downs, and they're knocking on the door for 7 points. So that's your choice. Do you give up 2? Do you give up an automatic 3 with the possibility of 7? 2 is always the best choice. Lots of time left in the game. You're going to get that field position advantage back.
So now a 5-point lead for Don Matthews' team. I was talking about the defense and how they've improved today. Just one more look at that little underhand to Anderson.
It looked like a basketball player just dishing it off on the way to the basket.
Well, Wally Watto said the other day to me in a conversation, Don Matthews knows a little bit about defense and stopping the run. And he didn't think those stats were going to stand up for the whole year. Edmonton starts at their own 35. And Troy Mills breaks a couple of tackles and has a first down. Here's a question for you. We wondered about this in the first half. Don Matthews is known as a live-on-the-edge kind of coach, but he has elected not to accept kickoffs today.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because you think, you know, you take the ball on the 35, which is your choice after a field goal to take the kickoff or to take the football, and he's taking the football. He's got some good returners back there, and you think he'd at least get to the 35.
First down Eskimos. This time they stop the run. Mills falls forward for a couple. And Jeff Traversy back in the game's on top.
Elon Green, right after the play was over, and Jeff Traversy made that tackle, looked right to the bench and started signaling to the bench. He looks like he has something in mind to call here. He brought in Sean Millington. So they're going to go with 2 backs and probably try and block up any pressure that Calgary may come with.
Second and 8. Green, lots of time initially. Now he'll pull it down, try and scamper for it, and that speed gets him to the stick for a first down, and again, he directs traffic out there.
I'm absolutely amazed at how many times the Calgary Stampeders in this second half have lost containment. That time, they control rushed Elon Green, and what I mean by that is the defensive line did not come after Green in a big hurry. They were patient with it, making him try and throw the football, but he waited long enough until someone in that Calgary defensive line, and I believe that time it was Kevin Johnson, lost containment, got to the outside and gets the first down in his own. They've got to make Elon Green a passer.
Talked to Mike Roach this morning, and we're talking about the comparisons Elon Green has been drawing to Damon Allen, and he says, you know, I don't think he's as shifty as a young Damon Allen, but he is faster.
Yeah, very strong legs.
Pretty nice to be a rookie, already getting comparisons to a well-established CFL veteran who's having an outstanding run in BC this year. Third quarter done here at McMahon Stadium, and we have an upset in the making. The Eskimos have a 5-point lead with 15 minutes to go. The 2-6 Edmonton Eskimos have a 5-point lead over the 6-2 Calgary Stampeders on Labor Day at McMahon Stadium. Here are the statistics through 3 quarters of play.
Well, that rushing yard stats for the Edmonton Eskimos, 146 yards. Second half, a lot of that has come from Nealon Green. He's decided to start running the football, and when he does that, that's when he's most effective.
When these two teams played back in July, the Eskimos had a 1-touchdown lead in the final 5 minutes and let it get away. The Calgary Stampeders are an extremely good fourth-quarter team. Troy Mills backed up by Jermaine Miles on 2nd and 1. You see Miles shaking his head. Let's find out where the officials spot the ball.
Well, he was in the backfield, so they're going to have to measure this one, I'm sure.
Well, and just to finish the point on the Stamps in the fourth quarter, let's have another look at Miles first.
Yeah, he just stands up Keesham Elmastube and puts him in the backfield. He was on there with Leo Groenwagen as well. I mean, Jermaine Miles made a play there to make Dom Matthews now make a decision, I believe. And it will be. It's couple feet, maybe a half yard.
It'll be third down, Edmonton.
Calgary's outscored the opposition 88-42 in the fourth quarter so far this year. Last year, same story, 194-95 in the fourth quarter. Wally Mono thinks his team is as well conditioned as any.
And no matter how far you're down in the game, if you win the fourth quarter, you usually win the football game.
Dan Crowley comes in instead of Green to handle this third down gamble. And the officials want to reset the ball here.
Wasn't lined up quite right. They had to move it back a couple of inches, I believe.
Crowley, who had to come in last week, replacing the injured Marcus Crandall. Try the right side, he should have it.
Crowley on the quarterback sneak has the Eskimo first down.
Chris Morris and Leo Groenwagen line up on the right side, and you're going to follow somebody, you follow the veteran. 224 straight games for Leo Groenwagen. The important part about a gamble like that is who gets the lowest up front.
Well as Green has run today, in that pushing off situation, they didn't want to test the hamstring. Again, Edmonton, another solid day on the ground, and they're adding to the numbers. Mills, though, stopped as he hit the 40. Maybe 2.
It's a gain of 2.
Now the Calgary Stampeders have an interesting decision to make on 2nd and long. They have had troubles getting them into this situation, 2nd and long, but now they can either do one of two things. Blitz, try and get Nealon Green shaken up a little bit. They were burnt once by the blitz by Terry Vaughn. If they play it soft, Nealon Green has broken containment a couple of times.
In the first meeting, Wally Buono felt his defense got better as the game wore on against Green. I don't think we can say the same today. Little pass out to Tobert in the flat. He stretches out looking for that first down stick. Looks like he's a yard short.
And it'll be a long yard, I think. It's going to be a long yard. It becomes more of a gamble in a tight game, especially a 5-point game. You don't want to mess around here. You're going to send in the field goal team. Make sure you get the 3 and push it to an 8-point game. Now you're a 2-point converted touchdown away from tying instead of converted touchdown away from going ahead if you're the Calgary Stampeders. So you know that Don Matthews would go with his barefoot kicker and send John Baker on it.
Baker now for Edmonton attempting a 39-yard field goal.
Surveying a 39-yard attempt. Missed that long effort early in the game. gets this one just inside the upright. Marvin Coleman arguing the official's decision, but it's 3 more on the board. Well, we should mention in the capacity crowd there is some green and gold sprinkled in today, and they're enjoying proceedings so far. Now an 8-point lead. A little bit of a dispute on that field goal. We're going to give you another look after the kickoff. Really hard to tell if Marvin Coleman had a case or not. We do know Rock Preston has the football, and he's got room to rumble. Rock Preston inside the 20. Did he step out? Yes, he has stepped out at the 7. But Rock Preston has electrified this crowd with a 78-yard kickoff return.
Special teams are made up of special people, and there's been some big special teams plays in this football game this afternoon. Rock Preston, the latest, you think back to the Marvin Coleman return that set up the score. A couple big plays off the punt formation for the Edmonton Eskimos. Special teams, a huge factor. Now Calgary has to take advantage of it.
Andre Batson saves a touchdown, but the product from Florida State has Calgary in scoring position. Warwick Dunn's old running mate. With Florida State, the huge play here to put Calgary in the red zone. First and goal. Dickinson into the end zone. Touchdown, Vince Danielson. And while the celebration's on, do you go for 2, Glenn Suter?
Yeah, I think you probably do.
27-25.
Go for 2 right now, tie it up. A lot of ways to score a single. You can punt for a single to get that extra point if you don't make it. Edmonton going with the blitz to Terry Ray on the backside, but this time the Calgary Stampeders block it up. Ron Meyer picks up Terry Ray, and that allows Dickinson the time to find Vince Danielson.
Been a quiet day for the Calgary slot machines, but Danielson has his 5th touchdown of the year. Now they go for 2, go for the tie, go into the end zone, and they got it. Marcus Dowdell. Tie game, 11:47 to play in Calgary.
Marcus Dowdell gets the 2 points. Big touchdown by Vince Danielson ties this game up, and all of a sudden, we're going to have a finish.
It has gone back and forth, and Rock Preston set it up.
This is the Dowdell 2-point convert. Slide protection up front, blocks up the safety blitz, and then Dowdell just has to get inside position.
Here's Brett Bailey, and they've got him wrapped up before he got to the 30. Eric Sutton in on the tackle as the special teams unit of Calgary's fired up.
Yeah, that'll get you fired up in a hurry. Not only when you score the touchdown, but then you get that 2-point convert to tie it. Hey, everyone's pumped up now. Now it's up to Elon Green to try and take some of the momentum back.
Well, the lead has changed 4 times today, and now we're tied in the 4th quarter. Elon Green with impressive numbers.
First and 10 at the Edmonton 30.
11.5 minutes to go. Troy Mills lunging to the 34. He'll have 4.
That's a big play by Darryl Hall. Vince Danielson scoring that touchdown. It was quiet up until that point. On defense, Darryl Hall is starting to step up his game. He had a choice to make there. Here's Danielson's touchdown. Just a little curl. So that's fine. That's a veteran finding the hole in the zone defense.
Second and 6, Edmonton. Open man, Rick Walters the catch, and a first down at the 42.
The Eskimos number 11, Rick Walters.
5 years in Saskatchewan. Rick Walters now playing at home. He was a high school star in Edmonton.
It's a gain of 9 yards.
Used to watch the Labor Day game, cheering for the green and gold.
Yeah, Simon Fraser grad, was a tailback at Simon Fraser, and really has become a very good receiver. In fact, a lot of teams could probably start Rick Walters in their lineup.
Fresh set of downs for Green. Over the middle, a completion. Bailey broke the first tackle, but lost his footing at the 48.
Lost his footing, and he's real slow getting up on the sideline. He really put on the brakes and may have twisted his ankle.
Remember, he seemed to favor the ankle earlier in the game.
Well, watch when he throws on the air brakes here. He's going to put on the brakes right there. And when he does, his leg kind of rolls up underneath him.
They've both been providing Calgary areas with electricity for decades now. FX, the official electricity supplier of the Calgary.
Still hasn't got up. I'm pretty sure it's his left ankle.
Waited 2.5 years for his first CFL start and made the most of it last week against Hamilton.
Yeah, here, take a look at this. Look at the left ankle. Watch how it gets rolled here. Right, one more step, and it gets rolled underneath.
Right at the end.
Yep. It's Wally Buono time to make sure he's got the right defense called, and to tell Marvin Coleman, this is, I guarantee you what he's telling us, go tell those guys to keep Elon Green in the pocket.
City Center Airport. Enjoy comfortable time.
Bailey up, and we only hope it looked worse than it is. One thing we haven't seen since early in the game, Glenn, is Wally Buono felt this defense is better than the one that won the Grey Cup because they've made a lot more big plays this season. We haven't seen as many big plays from the defense so far this afternoon.
Well, you're right. You think about William Hampton on the corner, 5 interceptions, 3 go back for touchdowns. Those are huge plays. I mean, to score a touchdown as a defensive back happens once in a career, and Hampton's done it 3 times this season. So you're right. That's why Wally Buono's been happy about the big plays that his secondary's made and his linebacking core, but they haven't made those plays this afternoon, and that's credit to Elon Green. He's making good decisions and running when he has to.
Bailey putting some weight on the ankle. That's good news. He's trying to walk it off. Pat Clayton, the Stampeders athletic therapist, was calling for the cart all along.
All right, it's time for this Labor Day sellout crowd.
It's amazing Bailey's walking it off, considering that last replay.
Yeah, all his weight was on it when he got twisted around like that. So, and as a receiver, when you have an ankle injury, it makes it that much tougher. You really can't come out of your breaks, even if it feels like you can play and you tape it up again. Really will bother you. Here's one more look at the injury where he gets rolled. See the ankle rolled right up there.
Eskimos lost Marcus Crandall last week with an ankle injury that will keep him out 4 weeks. He was having himself a game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats when he went down, and so was Bailey, and now it looks like the Eskimos have lost Bailey for at least the rest of this game.
Eskimos are 2nd and 5 at the 48.
So back to the action, 2nd and 5 for Edmonton at their own 48. Green looking for Tolbert, can't hang on. And William Hampton was in coverage for the Stampeders.
Just talked about making big plays, and on 2nd down, he comes up with a biggie. And that's just second effort from William Hampton, breaking back on the football, not giving up, because Mark Tolbert did his job. He was coming back, but Hampton didn't quit. Got his hand in there and pulled that ball out of there.
The folks at Ivor Wynne went home happy today as Hamilton defeated the Argonauts in their annual Labor Day grudge match. And will the home fans go away happy from McMahon Stadium today? The Eskimos have given Calgary all they could handle and more, and we're tied with under 9.5 minutes to go.
Well, it's been a special teams game, and it's Marvin Coleman's turn.
He had a big one near the end of the first half. like he had a little room up the sidelines, but Rick Walters cut it off. 40-yard punt, 7-yard return, 27-27 in Calgary. Twitch City might be Calgary right now. We've had quite an afternoon. And the Stampeders trying to break the tie. Dickinson to Pitts up at the 45. Right before the drive started, Glenn Suter said, I've got a feeling number 18 is going to get involved.
No question. If history has taught us anything with the Calgary Stampeders, it's taught us that when the game is on the line, Alan Pitts is going to step up his game and make sure he gives his quarterback a target. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see him break Ray Elgard's record on this drive alone. Dave Dickinson will look for 18.
He's 55 yards away from the Elgard mark. First down, Calgary 47. Direct snap, Anderson. Up to the 51, he has 4.
Straight ahead on the direct snap.
This is where you got to think that the Edmonton defense is going to want to try and double Alan Pitts and get him a little help, because he's going to be put in the short side of the field. Leave him on one-on-one. Dickinson's going to go over there. They still have to run the ball. They still have to keep Calvin Anderson involved on first down and keep that defensive line honest. You know Pitts will be involved, and he's on that short side now.
Second and 6. Dickinson looking the other way has Travis Moore, and Moore exploding through down to the 25. Saw the hole and picked up a little extra after the catch.
Travis Moore comes across the middle of the formation and does a pretty good job of breaking the tackle. I think Dickinson initially looked over to Pitts. He ran an out. Fairly well covered, so he went back to the field, and the tackle was missed by Chris Hardy in the open field, who didn't break down. He tried to get him with one arm, and it's tough to make a tackle with one arm. Leroy Blue giving some pressure to Dave Dickinson. He's taking a pounding in there today.
First down, Dickinson. Went back to Moore. Did he make the catch at the 20? Moore's first touchdown in the Canadian Football League was Labor Day '94. And it is a catch at the 20 and a gain of 5. This is starting to become vintage Calgary offense, though. We saw Danielson on the touchdown. First it was Pitts, then it's Moore, and he's starting to spread it around.
They're coming back to Pitts.
Second and 5. Dickinson looks end zone, and Pitts got his feet tangled up with Ken Watson, and he hit the turf. Dickinson wants a flag, but you don't usually see it thrown in that circumstance.
No, and I don't think there is a flag. I think Pitts just goes down. He gets caught in the turf and falls down, but you knew he was coming back to Alan Pitts, working on Ken Watson. He gets open, tries a little outside move, then heads down the field. Now, this is just a trip right here. They didn't even cross feet. Had Ken Watson beat, that was a touchdown, if not for the turf monster.
Ken Watson, though, grading out awfully well this afternoon against the CFL's best receiver of all time. McLaughlin has Calgary in the lead. A 28-yard field goal from Mark McLaughlin.
I'll say something, though. If the Edmonton Eskimos come back and win this football game with a major, Calgary Stampeders will look back at it and say simply they didn't take advantage of scoring opportunities when they were in the red zone. Early in the first quarter, they were knocking on the door a couple times and came away with field goals. And once again, Alan Pitts trips on the turf, or Wally Buono has 7 on the board instead of 3.
5 field goals for McLaughlin this afternoon. And there's still plenty of time for the Eskimos. Still plenty of time for Alan Pitts. 5:40 to go. Green looking downfield. And Donnie Ashley claiming he was held up in his route by Jackie Kellogg.
Number 87.
Well, they were hand fighting all the way down the field, and I think when Nealon Green saw the position that Jack Kellogg had on the inside, he just tried to throw that ball out to the outside and hope that Donnie Ashley could adjust to it. Jack Kellogg, another one of the guys in the secondary for Calgary that has really done a nice job of coverage, 4 interceptions. And, well, he got away with a couple there.
Grab with the left, grab with the right.
And do-si-do, and away we go.
2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz, and Johnson's got him. Kevin Johnson unloading on Nealon Green. You said they just got to get Johnson in the right place.
Yeah.
Right place, right time. That time.
No question about it. Coming off the edge, unblocked, and really the responsibility of Kevin Johnson, the free man from the backside, is Nealon Green. He's got to get rid of the football. So you got to credit the secondary once more. The Calgary Stampeders, Nealon Green had to pump fake it a couple of times, and Kevin Johnson, who was unblocked, puts his helmet right in his back.
2 and out at a key juncture in the game. At Kellogg. Good kick. And here's Marvin Coleman. Up to the 42-yard line. Good job by the Eskimos Special Forces. Led by Charles Asman.
Well, we talked about the last drive that would be an Allen Pitts drive. He started out with a catch, and then he went to Travis Moore a couple times, and that's how they get the 3 points. Now, this drive for the Calgary Stampeders has got to be a Calvin Anderson drive. This is where George Cortez wants Calvin Anderson involved. Try and get 6-7 on first down so that Dave Dickinson has the choice to run it again on second down or throw a short, safe pass on second down. Try and kill the rest of the time on the clock and move the ball down the field.
Anderson came into the game leading the CFL in combined yards, rushing and receiving with 1,010. Dickinson play action, and he's nailed. Was he down? Dickinson bounced off and got back to close to the line of scrimmage.
Well, they must have thought that the Edmonton Eskimos would be thinking about that as well. That they'd use Calvin Anderson because they faked it to him, hoping to surprise the Edmonton defense, but it didn't surprise Melvin Hunter, who was back in the action again.
Got a streaker on the field, which is a common Labor Day occurrence. And another example that when you have a lack of speed and a lack of size, maybe you stay off the football field.
Yeah. You gotta get right off there.
Well, these two teams, as tradition warrants, will be right back at it. Friday at Commonwealth Stadium. There'll be a huge crowd there for the rematch. And throughout most of the 90s, these two teams have split the Labor Day encounters. A sweep for Calgary in 95 and 98. Edmonton hasn't won both since 1990. They could use both this year.
Edmonton historically has their high school football night where they have the kids in the stands, and there's a huge crowd at Commonwealth Stadium.
Violators will be arrested, charged, and prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Still in a holding pattern here.
Well, this really favors Wally Buono now that he's got this extra break.
55 yards away from tying Elgard for Alan Pitts.
No, we would love to get it on Labor Day with a packed house. Break that record. And it's interesting that you mentioned he talked about he wants to get it out of the way, you know, and that's something because every week when a player is close to something like this, the media will ask him about it, and he really doesn't want to think about it. All he wants to do is focus on his job on the football field and doesn't want to think about those numbers. So that's one of the reasons the player just wants to get that out of their mind and go play ball.
Under 4 minutes to go, it's 2nd and 11. Flag down. Pass pass across the middle, and that's Dowdell trying to squirm for extra feet, but he's short of a first down. Let's see what the flag's all about.
Dowdell about 3 yards short.
Dowdell was the under pattern. Alan Pitts was open behind Dowdell, but Dickinson elected to take the short one. They're talking to Dickinson, so it's likely against Edmonton.
Somebody jumped along the line. Let's see.
Offside, Edmonton, 1994. Second down repeated.
Doug Peterson.
So it's 2nd and 6 as the Stampeders get a free down.
Oh, 2 backs. He's yours. He's mine. He's yours.
And here the Eskimo defenders sorting out the coverage as the Stampeders go into offensive formation. Here comes the rush, and a catch by Danielson at the 50. He's a yard short at least. Malvin Hunter was supplying the pressure and made it tough for Dickinson to get that ball to Danielson.
Well, Wally Buono is going to want to get a measurement if he can. That's up to the discretion of the officials, and they will bring it out. It's close enough. The chains are on the opposite side of the field. They're on the Edmonton side of the field, so it's tough to tell exactly how close they are to the first down. Of course, Wally Buono wants to make...
I think it's over a full yard, and if it is, it makes it an interesting decision for Wally Buono because he has the lead, 3:14 to go. No, they got a good spot. We saw where Danielson caught the ball. I'm surprised they put it on the other side of the 50.
They did get a very good spot, and because of that, it's in the zone right now where Wally Buono can go for it and feel confident that his offensive line and quarterback can pick it up.
And Mike McCoy has checked in. Well, let's see. Where should the spot have been? His momentum takes him back inside the 50, but on further review,
they sort of split the difference between the ball and the knees. Put it down right about there.
It's 3rd and...
So McCoy comes in.
Stampeders at the 50.
Pushes ahead, flag down.
Marker down, Mike McCoy with the quarterback sneak.
He got high. Mike McCoy got really high. That's why he got pushed back. But I think his second effort, he definitely should have enough. It just depends on the penalty. And usually in this case, the defense is trying to anticipate the snap count.
Well, we are going down to the wire here at McMahon Stadium. Don Matthews' team trails by 3. We've got 3 minutes to go.
First down, Calgary.
Calgary Stampeders.
Afternoon in Calgary. Stampeders have a 3-point lead. And we'll take another look at the surge that got the first down. Actually, an offside against the Eskimos. Gives Calgary the first down at the midfield stripe. Dickinson, Danielson at the Eskimo 40, another flag.
Over and under pattern, Dickinson over the top. Alan Pitts underneath. The flag is in the secondary.
Major foul, face mask, Edmonton number 8. First down, Calgary.
Safety Chris Hardy. 15 tacked on. That's expensive at this time.
Marcelo Simmons was...
Well, that's Marcelo Simmons, not Chris Hardy.
Yeah.
They said 8, but it clearly was 17.
Well, Chris Hardy got the announcement, so the coach is mad at him now, but when they watch the film, they'll know what really happened.
So 15 on the catch and 15 on the penalty. Mark it at the 25, and Calgary is starting to tighten their grip on this Labor Day game.
Well, you know, the way they're playing, they feel that 3 points is not enough to win the football game because they're not running the ball to Kelvin Anderson. They're throwing the ball, and, you know, you throw the football, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. So it's a bit of a gamble, but Wally Buono feels like he has to score again if he wants to win.
It wasn't decided until the final minute. The first time these two teams met this year. Anderson, he won't get back to the line of scrimmage. Driven back at the 30. Smothered on the play. Terry Ray, Robert Brown in the neighborhood. And Anderson brought down.
Terry Ray's been playing very well. He's helped out on Alan Pitts, giving Ken Watson some inside coverage, and he's also come off the edge and blitzed Dave Dickinson a few times. And we mentioned how Terry Ray may have just found the position that he wants to play and is going to be a good player at, and that's that tweener, that linebacker spot.
Well, they've shut Kelvin Anderson down. That usually means Edmonton would win. Second down. Dickinson in trouble, and down he goes. Way back at the 41. So a key stand by the Eskimos defense, and this one's not done yet.
Key stand, and it makes it that much tougher field goal attempt for Mark McLaughlin.
And you had a hunch that Wally Buono thought 7 was necessary. Eskimos are going to be within a touchdown of the win, regardless of McLaughlin's success.
Terry Ray in the backfield again for the Edmonton Eskimos. Another big play defensively. Front four doing their job. Leroy Blue playing a lot of that game.
Robert Brown, another big tackle in on the last 2 stops. Cue Mark McLaughlin. Trying to make it a half dozen on the day. Dickinson holding. And McLaughlin missing. And Ashley will bring it out. Got a block. Donnie Ashley. Look out. Donnie Ashley across midfield. It's still going. Finally down at the 40-yard line. A minute 36 to go.
Oh, boy. Special teams. It's been happening all game. Don Matthews loves to run back field goals. He feels like he always has a great chance to return one, because when you kick a field goal, you have offensive line covering it if you miss. It's all offensive linemen for the most part. Donnie Ashley's going to make an offensive lineman miss in the open field. You saw Jamie Crysdale. There's Byron Thomas. He's not going to get there.
Hardy with the block. And finally, Dwayne Ford, 80 yards. Ashley with the field goal return. How many big special plays today. And now Nealon Green. Looked left, now goes right, knocked down.
The pressure is on the Calgary secondary right now, and I'll tell you why. Jeff Traversy gets the knockdown, but the defensive line for Calgary aren't rushing anymore. They've decided that they're going to make Nealon Green throw the football. That means they're going to control their rush. They're not going to put big pass rush moves on that offensive line or take the side. This rush is controlled. They're moving upfield, but they're doing it very slowly. Traversy knocks it down, but there's pressure on the secondary. They're going to have to cover for that much longer.
2nd and 10, 91 seconds left. Flag down, and procedure against the Eskimos.
That's big. Nealon Green may have had an alley to run the football. He's going to run the quarterback draw.
Legal procedure. Edmonton, number 59. Still second down.
Leo Groenwagen playing in his 225th consecutive game. 2-time All-Canadian. Tough time to take the penalty. Thought he was that quarterback draw. It was the old Doug Flutie play when you really needed some big yardage in a desperate situation.
Well, and now Nealon Green's got to throw the football. He's in 2nd and 15. Nealon Green can run on 2nd and 10 on the quarterback draw and pick it up. 2nd and 15 is that much more difficult.
1-3-1.
Tacking 2 seconds back on the clock. And at this point in the game...
yeah, it would probably be important 2 seconds.
And I think the Eskimos are clearly in 3-down football range now, aren't they? They don't have a timeout, so they're not going to be able to hand the ball over and get it back again.
No, but they don't need the first down. They can tie it with a field goal.
Ball at the 45. They'd like to make it easier for John Baker than a 52-yarder, and it's not going to happen. Incomplete. Batson went to the right, and that pass ended up well off.
Now there's two schools of thought. They're going to bring John Baker on. They feel like this is in his range. There's not a whole lot of wind here in Calgary, so they're going to give him a crack at it. The other thought is, with this much time, minute 27 left, you can punt the ball, angle it to the corner, try and pin Calgary deep, hold them 2 and out. There's plenty of time to get the ball back around midfield and take another shot at a closer field goal. Remember, Marvin Coleman, if John Baker misses this, can run it back, just like the Edmonton Eskimos did with Donnie Ashley.
This will be a 52-yarder into a slight breeze. Baker has the longest field goal in the CFL this year at 54. This to tie the game. Got a lot on it and nailed it.
Oh, boy.
John Baker, 52 yards. That's the third 50-plus yard field goal he's made against Edmonton this year.
Not only is that a 52-yard field goal, but that's a 52-yard field goal with the weight of the world on your shoulders. You know, you have the outcome of this game in the balance, chance to tie it up, and you're 52 yards away. And I've said it before, but when you're 52 yards away from those goalposts, they look like a postage stamp. And when you hit that one and nail it like John Baker did, yeah, I guess you could be a little bit excited. And I should mention a pretty good hold by Dan Crowley. Had to go up there a little bit and pull that one down.
Baker staying a little within himself. He knows he may have to do it again with the game tied. Now Anderson out of the backfield, wrestled down at the 40.
Well, it's interesting, Chris, because you're right. John Baker is kind of trying to stay contained. He might get another chance. Mark McLaughlin on the opposite sideline has got to be thinking the same thing right now. He's just getting in a zone. Both kickers know that this could come down to the last second field goal. They're trying to get in the zone, block the crowd out, block their teammates out, and stay focused.
A miss at one end, and then a big one at the other. In the last 3 minutes has the game tied. Dickinson second down, throwing at Pitts, unable to bring it in with one hand. Charles Asman was tangled up with Pitts and hounded him enough.
And it's third down.
Third down, and the Eskimos are going to get the ball back with a chance to break the tie before we go to overtime.
Tony Martino, I would be very surprised if Tony Martino punts this to Terry Vaughn or Donnie Ashley. Tony Martino's got to be thinking right now about angling this to the sideline, blocking them up so they don't get a blocked punt, and try and get this one out of bounds so there's no return.
There's Terry Vaughn. Wouldn't he love a huge return against his old team? Already a touchdown today for Vaughn. Ashley, the other man, back. Martino, a little trouble with the snap. Gets it away. It's Ashley. Shook the first tackle. And now down just across the 30.
You know who flew down there like that? That was Aldi Henry. Aldi Henry was the first man at the point, and he came back and got involved in the tackle coming back the other way. Huge effort from a guy who made a crucial mistake earlier in the game, and that's when you know you have a good football player, when he comes back late in the football game. He was down there in a hurry. Watch how he flashes right away, makes Donnie Ashley right there. He gets a piece of him. He gets up off the ground, hustles back, and gets back involved in that tackle.
Here we go, Glenn. 43 seconds on the clock. Fourth quarter, game tied, and Troy Mills with a burst all the way to the 45.
Troy Mills, number 20.
That's something the Calgary defense doesn't suspect in this situation, that they're going to go with the drop play with Troy Mills. A little bit surprised they had their pass rush moves on up front to get beat for big yardage.
How would the Eskimos like their timeout right now? They had to burn it midway through the third quarter. Less than a half minute to go. And a pass behind Vaughn, incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Now you make an excellent point about the timeout. I mean, this is where it comes back to hunch, and we talked about it when they had to call a timeout earlier in the game because of a formation problem. Now they don't have one. They're going to have to manage the clock. 25 seconds left with their play call.
Green has gone cold. He's one of his last 7. Bakes pulls it down and now tosses it out, and a great defensive play by Marvin Coleman as he nailed Troy Mills.
And Don Matthews can't go for it. He really can't gamble in this situation. Calgary Stampeders hold them. They're a play away from kicking the winning field goal. They've got to punt the football away.
Looks like the Eskimos are going to overtime for the 2nd straight week. Great quote last week from Terry Ray. We had the game won. All we had to do was turn off the lights, get on the bus, and go home. They couldn't turn the lights off on Hamilton and lost by a touchdown. Who's going to turn the lights out this afternoon in Calgary? Time's run out. Coleman, flag, so we'll get another play on the no yards call against Edmonton. Remember overtime, 2 5-minute halves. It is not sudden death.
They flip the coin again. Decide who gets the football back. There are the rules for overtime. 2-minute intermission. 2 5-minute halves. They'll flip the coin. Whoever wins the toss will get the chance to either take the ball or defer. And usually in overtime, you want that football.
No yards, number 8, decline.
Penalty decline. And we'll just move right to the overtime period then. So that was the final play of regulation time. And what an afternoon it has been.
All week long here in Calgary, both the coaching staffs of the Stampeders and Eskimos were downplaying this rivalry. They were saying it wasn't special. Oh well, I guess they can always change their mind. This has been a thriller. It started out a little slowly, but it has certainly picked up a lot of momentum. We are going into overtime. In the history of this classic, there has only been one other overtime game. We're going to OT for the 2nd time. Guys in the booth?
Actually, that was a 28-28 tie back in 1978. They didn't play overtime back then, so that's why the Eskimos have the advantage in the series between these two teams. 20 wins, 15 losses, and the 1 tie. And this was one of many big plays today, the 2-point conversion after the Danielson touchdown. Marcus Dowdell with the catch.
Marcus Dowdell has made a couple of big plays against his old teammates. But this has been a game of special teams. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was special teams that ends up winning it one way or another.
Calgary struck first, then Edmonton had an 8-3 lead. Calgary was ahead 19-15 at the half. Edmonton ahead 22-19. Then they were tied at 27 after that 2-point convert. Mark McLaughlin gave Calgary a 3-point lead. Edmonton gets it back again. It's been up and down all afternoon. And the Eskimos will get their hands on the football first. Terry Vaughn. And Vaughn stopped by Aldi Henry.
Yeah, he's making up for it.
Taking himself out of a hole.
Sure.
If you joined us late, he took a unnecessary roughness penalty that kept an Edmonton drive going late in the first half and gave the Eskimos the lead at halftime.
He's made some plays since then, and now it's up to Nealon Green. One concern for Don Matthews in this offense was that when they went into overtime last week, they really fell apart. Right, conditioning.
They also lost their starting quarterback in that game.
That's right.
About a minute to go in the 4th quarter. Troy Mills, boy, he's running hard, and he's up to the 39-yard line. Gain of 6 for Mills.
He is really running hard. His motor goes full speed from start to finish. I mean, that throttle is buried. And Troy Mills gets those knees up high. He's a hard slashing runner, hits the line full speed. He's already over 100 as we start overtime here today.
Man, over 3,000 now in his career with the game this afternoon. Second and a yard. Mills will have that. Carry Ray Jacobs for a couple more.
Really, with 5 minutes, if you can control the clock, you can take that whole half when you have the football and you want to come away with the 7 as you finish the drive off and finish the half, and then you give it over to the other team. You got to kick it off to them for the second half.
Well, the Eskimos have been a good running team all season long. Came into this game, second best running record in the league. Only BC had rushed for more yards. Flag down, Green. And the pass behind Mills, incomplete.
Elon Green was not happy with Troy Mills on the pattern. Troy Mills, again, we talked about it earlier, going the one-on-one with Darryl Hall on the backside. They get him right out of the backfield and put him on the man-to-man situation with Hall.
Offside, Calgary, number 92. First down, repeat it.
Steve Anderson.
That'll make it 1st and 5 for Edmonton. 90 seconds into this first overtime half. Eskimos trying to move back into a tie with Saskatchewan for 3rd spot in the West. Calgary needs a win to tie BC for 1st. And the Eskimos are running in overtime effectively.
They really are, and it's to the left side of that offensive line that's really doing the damage so far. Bruce Beaton over there along with Val St. Germain are really opening up some holes on the left side of the line for Troy Mills. It's been the same play and the same call each time.
Troy Mills missed 5 weeks with the rib problem, and it's a different offense when he's taking the handoff from Elon Green. Mills checks out, however. They've been cramping up.
Elijah Johnson just came on. I don't think he was on for the last 2 plays.
So Sean Millington takes over, and he runs into Jacobs.
Millington, number 25.
And they're into Calgary territory at the 47-yard line.
Elijah Johnson came on late there as Troy Mills was going on to stretch out that cramp. Elijah Johnson ran on the field, and I think he missed those 2 plays that Troy Mills took off running. If Elijah Johnson's not in the middle of your defense, you're not going to be as strong against the run.
And AJ now going back to the sidelines. He's been through all the wars for 11 years in the CFL. Second down, 6 to go. Green with time, looking for Vaughn, and it's picked off by Jack Kellogg. Another big play by Jack Kellogg. That's his 5th interception of the year. And it snaps a promising Edmonton drive.
Right now, you look across the Canadian Football League, I think Dale Joseph out in Vancouver and maybe Jack Kellogg may be the best 2 halfbacks in the game right now. I mean, Jack Kellogg has made some huge plays, none bigger than that one, and he was all over Donnie Ashley on the pass pattern.
Who's he looking for, his bride? He spent the 5 days off between games getting married.
Well, she's getting that ball then because real good coverage, it was actually Terry Vaughn that was running the corner pattern. Ashley was underneath. Terry Vaughn can't get back to the football. Jack Kellogg fought his way over.
So Dickinson goes to work now. Steps up and he is nailed. And that's Terry Ray again. Tell you what, Don Matthews has solved one position problem in the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Terry Ray is the new tweener for the Edmonton Eskimos, and as long as he stays healthy, will be there until the end of the year. This guy has made a ton of plays this afternoon. I guarantee you one thing, Dave Dickinson tomorrow will be covered in ice bags. He has been pounded today.
3 sacks for Ray, 10 tackles last week, 5 in the game for Edmonton in the final minute of the first half of overtime. Second in a bunch. 4 nailed by Charles Anthony. Not sure he got back to the original line of scrimmage.
Both defenses stepping it up. Jack Kellogg makes a big play, and then team defense from the Edmonton Eskimos. Charles Anthony hurt early in the first quarter, has battled through that injury. Comes back and makes a good play on Travis Moore. They're going to drop back in zone in 2nd and long, make them throw it underneath, and then come up and make the tackle.
It's a big play because they're backed up now. Edmonton should get in good field position, maybe close enough for John Baker to kick Edmonton into the lead.
And this is not really a position where Mark McLaughlin can give it up. Or excuse me, Tony Martino can give it up. Mark McLaughlin will be the field goal kicker. Martino, of course, the punter. But he's not going to give up the safety. He's going to have to kick this one away.
Don't want to give up points in overtime.
No.
So they'll try and take as much off the clock as possible.
Well, the way they're setting it up, they just may be doing that. No, they're going to kick it.
Ashley at his 50. And he's dragged down. Eric Sutton. Great downfield coverage. 45 yards on the punt. No return.
Well, Tony Martino comes up with a big kick, and he's got some special teams help from a couple of guys. Sutton on that play, and Aldi Henry has had some good coverage as well since making the mistake early in the game.
Teams get a timeout in each half of overtime. Remember, Baker hit from 52. If that is the range, then they've got 15 yards to get, 21 seconds on the clock.
And remember, Edmonton has to do it now because they have to kick the ball off in 21 seconds back to Calgary.
Two self-contained halves and nearly another pickoff. Greg Prayers was the closest man to that ball. Rick Walters, the intended receiver.
Got to do your thing one more time, Ralphie.
That's obviously another reason why Tony Martino doesn't even think about a safety. You don't give up points in overtime. Plus, he's on the 1 yard line. Plus, they get the ball back in 20 seconds anyway. It's the overtime rule.
Still Edmonton, 15 yards away from field goal territory. 2nd and 10. Green's going to try and run for it. Milard Green gets to the 50, lost the football, and let's see if the play was ruled dead. That ball came loose, but then into the hands of Andre Batson. And now, where are they going to spot the ball? And it's a first down. They've got time for one more play before they can call upon John Baker.
Well, as it stands right now, where the ball is sitting at 7 yards back is where the tee is placed from where the ball is on the field right now. So you're looking at about a 55-yard field goal into a bit of a breeze.
Timeout called, and they will confer on what play selection to get it a little closer.
Well, Chris, right now with 9 seconds, Don Matthews has the option. I mean, there's a chance to get one play off. Run a quick out to the sideline.
Remember the final minute of the first half, Calgary had 10 seconds. They were in field goal range, but they got it in the end zone to Marcus Dowdell. Albeit a little closer than the 48. Eric Sutton's an extra DB for Calgary. Kevin Johnson checks out. First down for the Eskimos. And Green, again, his own number, and he lunges over the 40 to the 39.
Right into the middle of the field.
Into the middle of the field.
Right.
What are we talking about, a 46-yarder?
Yeah, gets to the middle of the field to try and line it up so it's a little bit closer, and it's straight on for John Baker. And he did it in the time that he had to, 5 seconds, so he gives Baker a chance.
Well, it has been a rough return for Dave Dickinson. He's hung in, he's played well, but the Eskimos have...
Peterson, I mean, even when he's throwing the football, he's getting hit. When he's getting rid of it, there's Peterson again. Terry Ray's been in the backfield a bunch of times. There's Leroy Blue. He has taken a ton of hits. That takes his toll as we go into overtime. Here now they can get some of that pressure off him with some screens and drops. Ouch.
Really thought Calgary had a stranglehold on this game late when they had the 3-point lead. Looked like they were driving in again. The Eskimos were resilient, and now they're the leaders. Line drive, Anderson. That line drive kick gave Anderson a chance to bring it back all the way to the 45.
It does that because your cover team can't get down there in time. That's why kickers, either punting or kicking off, want to give their team a little bit of hang time so that the cover guys can get down underneath it. Anderson got some pretty good yards because of that with the line drive.
You know, Alan Pitts could still break a record here this afternoon.
Absolutely.
I think we've been looking at Pitts all day, and so have the Eskimos, and that's why he can't get loose. 56 away, but the prime objective here for Calgary is get the W. And Dickinson, boy, he staggered off a hit and ended up with a few positive yards.
They have got to get this pass rush off them, and full marks to the Edmonton defensive line. They have been coming all game long. Malvin Hunter set the tone early, and the rest of the boys up front have followed his lead.
3 for Dickinson.
That's just a 4-man rush on 5 offensive linemen, and Dickinson had to be flushed out of there.
2nd and 7. Dickinson over the middle, nice catch. Travis Moore had to go back to get it. And that's a key catch for the Stampeders. A first down at the Eskimo 50.
Oh, what a great catch it was, too. He had to go back against his body. His momentum was taking him across the middle of the field. He had to reach back to stab this one. That's what you call putting a fork in it. You know you're going to get hit when you're coming across the middle as well.
Boy, he has quietly become one of the best receivers in the league. Doesn't get much attention on a team with Alan Pitts and Vince Danielson. Number 5 in the league in receiving, however. First down over the middle, and Danielson had it fall out of his hands. Yasmin, if he hadn't nailed Danielson, might have had a shot at the interception.
And I think the umpire might have distracted Danielson. He ran right across the official there, and I think that ball, once the umpire's right there, kind of gets out of the way, it looked like it kind of distracted Danielson for a second.
The incompletion sets up 2nd and 10. 3 minutes left in the second half of overtime. Edmonton with the lead, and Travis Moore has the catch inside the 39. That's close to a first down, but Wally Bono is going to have to make a decision.
They'll probably measure it, but they got a very good spot.
Did they ever? He may not have to make a decision.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be right in that area, inches anyway. You know, great players make big plays when the game's on the line, and Travis Moore has made a couple so far in this drive to keep it alive. Maybe a bit short here, a few inches, but they'll go for it on this situation.
You know, we mentioned about the unfortunate injury to his brother, and he said it was a little bit of a psychological hurdle for him last week to take the first hit or two, and he did just that. Going 3 catches for 109 yards. And another big catch by Moore here. Mark McLaughlin could be called upon to try and tie this game, but you know the Stampeders are thinking win. Right now they're thinking about this 3rd down gamble, and Mike McCoy has to get low this time. Back in for Dickinson. Pushes ahead, and he'll move the sticks.
Dickinson looks banged up. I mean, he was barely getting on the field there. Injured that shoulder again early in the games, played the whole game with it. And we showed you how many hits he has taken, and that was just a handful of them.
Said prior to the game he felt like he was back in training camp after missing 6 weeks. It's more like boot camp right now. First down, Took another hit, but got it away, and there's Pitts at the 20. Oh, Dave Dickinson.
Oh, man. He paid the price, but, man, he's just paid the price that's bought his team a chance to win this football game.
18 for number 18, and he's now within 38 of the record.
Recognize the coverage was zone. In zone coverage, you know Alan Pitts is going to find an open area. And here's the hit that Dave Dickinson takes.
Robert Brown.
And then a kick while he's down.
First down. And flags fly. And was it procedure? Somebody moved early for Calgary. 69 seconds left on the clock.
They cannot hold off this defensive line in Edmonton. The Calgary offensive line cannot stop it.
Legal procedure, Calgary, number 62, still first down.
Had that play run, Dave Dickinson would have get pounded again. And remember, Jay McNeil left the game a while back. Young Yul Kims had to play, and he struggled.
First and 15. They're in field goal range, but they're thinking touchdown. And Dickinson wrapped up, down he goes, and Leroy Blue. It's been a tough year, but he comes up with a huge play.
Leroy Blue gets the pressure. Malvin Hunter makes a play on the screen. We talked about the screen being the key. If they could get the screen off, it would alleviate some pressure. They had it called, and Malvin Hunter grabbed Kelvin Anderson and wouldn't let him release. Dave Dickinson had to hang on to the football. That allowed Leroy Blue to get home and get the sack.
6 sacks for the Eskimos defense this afternoon. Second and 25. Can't afford another sack. Dickinson out of trouble. Robert Brown can't chase him down. Dave Dickinson, first down or close. Close to the first down inside the 10. That was a kneel on green type of run by a guy not known for it.
The play took so long to develop. The secondary, the linebackers have dropped way back into coverage. Pretty much all go routes from the Calgary receivers. So when Dave Dickinson broke out of that 4-man rush, he had tons of real estate.
He gets nailed here, and McLaughlin's got a long field goal, but off and running is Dave Dickinson.
Robert Brown really had the only chance at him until he's way deep in the secondary.
Longest run of Dave Dickinson's career, a 25-yard scamper, and it couldn't have come at a better time. 31 seconds left, so they'll have time to take the third down gamble and then still have a couple of shots at the end zone.
Gamble on third down, and you got to think once they get the first down that the Edmonton defense will take away Alan Pitts. At least they'll try to. They're talking about a double coverage situation. That means that Dave Dickinson, to score a touchdown, will have to go to the opposite side of the field and get to him lined up over there. That'll be Travis Moore.
Again, McCoy, this just a couple of inches, and he'll have it. And we're going to go right down to the wire. Calgary broke their hearts back in July with a last-minute touchdown. And they get it into the end zone again against the Eskimos. Dickinson, 21 of 29, 257 yards. He's thrown 2 touchdowns already. Marcus Dowdell and Vince Danielson. Here we go. Aubrey Cummings into the game as a receiver. Looks right into that corner. Dowdell the catch, but he's got it for 1 second left, and now they've really got a decision.
Oh, is it ever a big decision right now if it's marked on the 1-yard line?
Oh, they'll debate this.
McLaughlin's halfway on the field, but they're 1 yard line. The offensive linemen want them to go for it. It's up to Wally Guano to make decisions.
You don't play for a tie, do you? You go for the win.
Oh, man, this is what you debate all the time. What do you do if you're the head coach in this scenario and McLaughlin's coming off? They're playing for the win.
Wally Guano upset. I think he wanted a timeout earlier. Ball at the 1. And it doesn't get any better than this. And it's Mike McCoy at quarterback. A late substitution for the Eskimos. And here we go. McCoy, flag, whistle, and a timeout was called before that play got underway.
I believe the Edmonton Eskimos called the timeout just before the whistle, and they didn't allow the play to go. They still had their timeout. They're going to make them do it one more time.
I think the Eskimos maybe had too many men on the field and didn't want to give Calgary a free shot.
Please reset the clock to 0-1. 0-1. Timeout was called for Edmonton before the ball was snapped.
Yeah.
It's first down, Calgary.
Just called.
Yeah, and that's smart by Don Matthews, because what it does is it obviously tells them what the play is going to be. They know where they're going to go now, and it's just who gets lower in the trenches.
Well, the whistle went just before the surge. 10 plays, 65 yards. Can the Stamp cap it? McCoy, is he in? Simmons says no. Is it wishful thinking?
No signal yet.
Still no signal.
They're trying to find the football.
The Edmonton Eskimos have stood and win in the most dramatic of fashions. What a remarkable stand on the goal line. Eric Johnson has the football, and Don Matthews and the green and gold have their third win on the year in the most remarkable of fashions.
For the last second stand here at McMahon Stadium, they deny the Stampeders on this play and beat the Stampeders in overtime 33-30. Friday night, LeBlanc Blue Jays baseball on CBC. The Jays make their final ever appearance at Tiger Stadium. Saturday, more track and field, the Golden League from Brussels. Next up on the CFL on CBC, Skydome, where the Argos will host the Saskatchewan Roughriders. In the Labor Day Classic in Calgary, a super game at McMahon. They needed overtime to settle this one. The Eskimos win a thriller 33-30.